Karma really isn't. I talked all that crap about the Mets, and look at what they do.
Hey, I told you. The Marlins had ruined the Mets parade 3 times in the last 15 years. I told you.
Bad night for just about everybody not named the Diamondbacks.
Yep. And meanwhile, everybody in the American League won.
Correct.
Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Houston, Texas, and Seattle. They all won.
Baltimore lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Rays and Orioles lost. So,
but
all the wild card teams won.
All the West teams won.
Mm-hmm.
84% of our audience is willing to make a bet, David.
That's
out of
fantastic.
343 votes. Wow. Thank you, John, from Crockett, Texas. Sounds like a city you need to have a gun in.
I believe when you become a citizen, they give you one, right, John? You go to the tax office, you fill out your papers, and they ask you, do you want a handgun or a rifle?
You know what I've seen a lot of? The one time I went to Texas is those little wallets where on one side you put your cards, and on the other side there's a little gun, a tiny pistol.
Not typically ambient. I try to reduce my number of followers daily. I follow way too many people on Twitter. It becomes way too cluttered. David's got it right. He follows about 167 people on Twitter.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. A week and a half left in the baseball season. Another week of football gets underway. Hope your week is going well. We're over the hump together. Let's finish this baby off, shall we? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for starting your morning off with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing terrific. Love the how the heck are you? And I have to get into it because yesterday ran into an old friend I hadn't seen in a long time. And he says, he found me through the show, and he's not from the area, lives up north. And he said, your partner, he does that how the heck are you thing at the front. I like that. And I'm like, I do too, as a matter of fact.
The how the heck are you? See, we're trying to grow the show, and not just more listeners in the 4 markets that we're in, but we're trying to get more affiliates. See, in theory, more affiliates mean more sales, which will one day mean, wait for it, more money. It's not going well. So this reminds me of my old days when I was in local television. I was sending out resume tapes, hoping to get that better job. And I had a mustache. And I liked the stash. And eventually, after 12 years of knocking my head against the wall, not getting jobs that I thought I should be getting, it kind of dawned on me, maybe you got to lose the stash. Now it doesn't matter. Now you can go beard. It doesn't even have to be kept. But back in the, 25 years ago, facial hair was really frowned upon. And so when we're trying to appeal to new stations, the whole how we begin the show, I worry that if they hear that, that's it. They could be like, forget it. No way, not interested in this. Or it could be like, wow, I really like that. So it's a risk. I feel as if the beginning of the show is a risk.
Hey, what do they say, David?
No
No
risk it,
no biscuit.
biscuit. Right.
And
So
I finished the show yesterday and went home and had a biscuit. My mother had made strawberry shortcake, so there was biscuits in the house. And David, the risket was worth the biscuit.
here's the problem, though. See, in a football game, you get around NFL, you get around 65 plays. So you know it's okay. You take the occasional risk. Mark, when we're trying to appeal to affiliates, there's like 2 stations per market.
I got you.
So I mean, the odds are already against us. So you sure you want folks who aren't used to how we start the show to hear how the heck are you?
I do. I love it.
Okay.
Puts a smile on my face every morning.
All right. Okay.
21,000. Good. Hell, that could be our, I don't even need the work. That might just be our poll question. You want David to continue with how the heck are you? And I think the vote would be 90+% yes.
You got to remember, though, the least amount of people that listen to the show are listening at 6:01 a.m. I mean, the audience does grow throughout the show. Heck, people could see that poll question and go, what the heck are they talking about? How the heck are you?
Valid point.
But hey, listen, you're in charge of the shape up. You're in charge of the Miller and Moulton shakeup. By the way, no texts late in the afternoon and the evening last night. Nothing. I went to bed, and you know what? At 10:30, I damn near sent out a text and went, no, maybe their phones make noise when they get texts. See, mine doesn't. And I'm like, I don't want to disturb them. They might be sleeping. But yeah, this shape up lasted 2 days. No poll question.
I was ready this morning.
You were.
5:15, sending you text. Don't you worry.
You were. That's true.
It doesn't have to be communication at night. It can be, because the other side of this, David, is that not only do we not really communicate after the show is over, we don't communicate before it starts either. We can be logged on looking at one another at 5:30 in the morning and not say a word to one another until 6:01.
That is true. You sent me a text and said, hey, I need you to connect early. I've got a concern about something. So I connected at like 5:49, and I was like, yeah. And you're like, okay, I can hear you. Everything's good. Oh, that's it? Yeah.
That's it.
And I looked at you like, really? I had to move for this? Don't talk to me till 6:00. Was the look I gave him back. So the shape up's underway. Apparently, we already have a poll question. Hell, we may have 2.
Ha!
Unbelievable. Hey, this just in. When you're trying to chase down somebody with a week and a half left in the baseball season, and they're playing in the afternoon and they lose, and you're playing in the evening, you need to win. I'm just saying. I mean, the golden opportunity is right there. It's like when you show up at the ballpark, somebody's got a cake waiting for you. And on top of the cake, it says Orioles lose. Then in Miami, the cake needed to say win the series against the Mets. That's all. That's all we're asking. Just take 2 out of 3. You got 4 series left. Win them. You'll be in the playoffs. It's not that complicated. I told Felipe, I warned him last week. Okay, he was all worried about the Braves series. And I know if you look at it big picture, 3 against the Braves, 3 against the Mets, if I said 4-2, you jump up and down to take it. I get it. But I told him, I said, listen, the Marlins have ruined the Mets parade 3 times in the last 15 years. The Mets owe the Marlins. You may not realize that because you're 23 years old, but I'm telling you, the Mets owe the Marlins one. And now they've played a series, and the Mets took 2 out of 3. They got 1 more next week in New York. I'm telling you, Felipe, The Mets owe the Marlins.
Karma.
And that's just sports karma.
Yep. That's
Because
the
the
way it
players
works.
on the Mets have nothing to do with the teams that were
Nope.
taken out by the Marlins.
Nope.
But it's just the attitude of the ball player, of the athlete at this point in the season. When
Yep.
you have nothing left to play for, you can stick it to somebody. You're going to play hard.
And in New York, they still read the paper. And if not, the sports talk show hosts in New York read the papers, and they do all their shows based on that material. So these Mets players of a different era realize, oh, wow, we owe these guys. Huh. So these guys helped shut down Shea Stadium with a loss. It just knocked us out of the playoffs. Tom Glavine's last start. I'll be damned. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm just saying. Just saying. So we got that on the baseball front, and we're back with football, although, man, I think it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Poetic that this week in the NFL starts with a 10-point spread with the first game of the week, because there are some bad matchups on the schedule this week.
And by matchups they are, and I'll tell you right now, playing a survivor pool, don't pick the wrong one. Don't pick the wrong one. This is the type of week, even in the NFL, David, that one of these teams, you're telling me you'd lay the big number in all these games?
I would definitely lay the number tonight. Absolutely lay the number tonight. All right. First off, the Giants, if their offensive line was healthy, couldn't block the Niners' defensive line. But it's not healthy. Their left tackle's out. Their right guard's out. Their number one offensive weapon is out. Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying this weekend, one of these big dogs will be right there. May not win it at the end, but they're going to scare the hell out of somebody in a survivor pool.
Well, you told me that in the survivor pool you're in, that a surprisingly large number of people took the Giants last week against Arizona, when the spread on that game was 4, and it kept going down throughout the week. So when that was 28-7 late third quarter, you had to be thinking, well, heck, all these guys are going to be
I was rooting so hard. Once you see one going the other way, you start rooting for the upset.
I'm curious how many people are going to take the Dolphins this week. Maybe not in the state of Florida because they know better, but I'm curious nationally how many people are going to take the Dolphins this Sunday. Listen, if you thought a team that was 0-1 was desperate, all right, 0-2? I mean, any chance of having a season is this Sunday. Any chance. Heck, teams are signing players, making trades. That's how desperate they are for this weekend. So, just saying. Just saying. We do have football tonight. I cannot promise you it'll be interesting beyond 10 o'clock.
That's giving it a huge benefit of the doubt.
If
it makes it all the way to 10, that means the third quarter is interesting. And I don't know how that happens tonight. I'm with you. I'm just merely saying that when you have 4 spreads that are 9 or above, it just sets up for one of those games not going that way.
And in the NFL, those are big numbers. There's no question about it. Well, we have 9 2-0 teams, but we only have one matchup of 2-0 teams facing each other. And it happens to be in our neck of the woods, so to speak. It's Philly and Tampa Bay Monday night. By the way, do you think there's a Monday Night Football curse? People pointing out last 3 or 4 Monday Night Football games. Not good
Kyler
things.
Murray, Hamlin, Aaron Rodgers, and then
the DeMar Hamlin thing, that obviously that was freakish. The Aaron Rodgers thing, the Nick Chubb thing. Yeah, people, those are the last 3 games on Monday night. Although the playoff game was a Monday night game, Dallas and Tampa, if you count that last year. And that turned out to be Brady's last game, if you want to put that on the list.
Took him out.
We did not take him out.
Brett Maher forgot how to kick a football also in that game.
Well, but that was an ongoing thing. But yes, that's true. 4 extra points. I mean, you have to admit, we've had some of the last 4 or so Monday Night Football games have been a little crazy. Awkward at times. Yeah. So, Paul in our Twitch chat room is trying to go all the way back to Theismann breaking his leg. I mean, come on, that's 85.
It's a little deep.
I mean, I know people want to blame a lot of things on Joe and Troy. I think that's a stretch. I think Troy was actually 85. Was Troy at Oklahoma or UCLA at the time? So that's tough. I don't even know if Joe was a student at IU yet. So
probably. No, probably not, because I think he and I are the same age. So no, he'd have been in high school.
Yeah, see? Miller and Moulton. Yeah, they're there. You know what? Miller and Moulton squared. How about that?
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. With James Dolan saying he really doesn't like owning sports teams, we ask, what's the worst part about being rich? Owning sports teams. Which homes should I visit? Which car should I drive? Spouse or mistress? We got our, How'd I word the question?
Well, the only thing I'm wondering is, do people know that James Dolan owns the Knicks and Rangers? So
Oh,
I'm just wondering, should you say, with James Dolan saying he really doesn't like owning the Knicks and Rangers, comma. Ambient, you haven't had a winning record since you won the Super Bowl. That's what's remarkable to me. I mean, you guys are doing what the Giants did after they won in 2011. The Giants, I think, went like 10, 11 years and only had one winning record. That's tough to do.
all right. So with James Dolan saying he really doesn't like owning the Knicks and Rangers, we ask, what's the worst part about being rich?
Correct.
Does nothing for Felipe over there. He's head down. He's not interested.
Well, I think it's difficult for Felipe right now to imagine being rich.
It's difficult for me to imagine being rich.
Well, no, you and I, but see, usually, like at Felipe's age, okay, you're still thinking, hey, this is going to happen. The problem is Felipe got into this industry and he's
It'll
quickly
never happen.
quickly realizing the odds are very much against him. You know, we warned you. We did. Take that with you the rest of your life. You know, you'll be 28 over your parents for Thanksgiving. You'll say, you know, those two yahoos, they warned me.
I'd say yes or no. Can James Dolan's life get any worse? Yes or no?
How can it get worse? It's rich.
I know. How could it get worse? He owns Madison Square Garden, the Sphere, Radio City Music Hall.
It's dramatic.
Knicks, the Rangers.
Right. Quit complaining, dude.
And it sucks owning the Knicks and Rangers.
Oh, what a tragedy.
I will say it sucks being a Knicks fan with you owning them. I will say that, sir.
It sucks for everyone else around you.
So, by the way, we have the women's tournament at Hertz with Iowa in
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And the other women's tournament at part of that tip-off has Tennessee playing Indiana on Thanksgiving on Big Fox. On Big Fox.
Correct. I believe that's at 4:00.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Heck of a show lined up today, if we do say so ourselves. Roy Cummings to talk the undefeated Tampa Bay Bucs. How about that?
That's the risk you take when they're listening to the show.
Yeah, that's probably more of a risk than how the heck are you? Jeff Cameron to talk, is it Florida State's turn to take back control of the ACC? Clemson's had control now for the last 8 years. Is it time for Florida State to take it back? They have their shot in about 48 hours. We'll talk to Jeff Cameron about that. And not now, but a couple hours from now, get your fantasy football questions ready for Dr. Roto as he makes his weekly house call.
After I get in my questions.
Right.
I've got a lineup to set. A couple DraftKings questions to ask, and then we'll get around to it.
Gotcha. See, this is where you need to be following us on Twitch because, you know, we hook up with the doc a little early and, you know, Felipe and Mark can get in their personal fantasy questions before you get your shot, you know, that sort of deal. Hey, we asked a poll question yesterday. Since, you know, you're big on this now, we have to have one up by 6:30. So let's put yesterday's to bed. We were optimistic yesterday. We said sometime next week, the Hard Rock Seminole Casino sports betting app is going to be fired up and ready to go again. And there's a good possibility of that. It's not a lock, but there's a good possibility of it. And so when they fire that sucker up, what are you going to do? You going to bet again? Because you used it 2 years ago when it was up for 4 or 5 weeks there. Are you going to bet for the first time? Which Mark's betting again on it. I'm going to use it for the first time. I didn't use it the first go around. I'm actually going to use it this time. And or are you going, no, I don't bet on sports, you morons, you lose money.
Such a small group of you that said that. We had a large number of people that vote for this show. And 85% of you are betting. Thank you. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
We thank you.
That's a little more than an 8-foot par putt there. That's
Which, by the way, it's very funny you say that. We had a Monday production meeting before the Monday Night Football game, and somebody made a presentation, and like 4 people put their hands together, and I went, wow, that was a 4-footer for bogey. That was not good. I got a better reaction than the guy's presentation, I'll tell you that. But yeah, no. That's a nice birdie. I mean, the approach shot really was the winning shot. But no, I thought the applause we gave there was a birdie putt.
I was almost saying it was a 2-putt birdie.
Okay.
They hit the par 5, they lagged one up there to about 3 feet. And it's like, way to go. You made the birdie.
Yeah.
We wanted to see an eagle, but you made the birdie. Good job.
Yeah, okay. That's all right. You can go to the next hole. We'll allow it. Right. So that was yesterday's question. And so all right, what do you have today?
Well, James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks and Rangers, you're well aware.
Thank you, Mark. I'm well aware.
I'm just for our audience, not for you.
Gotcha. I thought we were getting rather personal rather early. Can't believe you're throwing James Dolan in my face before 6:30. I thought you liked me.
Well, this question's your fault. The whole premise of this question is your fault because you're the person that got me to download the New York Post app.
Well, that is my fault. That is
And
true.
it was yesterday during the day in which I popped on it, and the headline was Knicks Rangers owner James Dolan. I really don't like owning teams.
And I, of course, saw it and thought, well, we really don't like you owning the teams we root for either. You suck at it.
But it got me to thinking, what is the big problem with being rich? Because obviously owning teams is one of them. So with James Dolan saying he really doesn't like owning the Knicks and Rangers, we ask, what's the worst part about being rich? Owning sports teams? Which home should I visit? Which car should I drive? Or finally, spouse or mistress?
Oh, off the top rope at the end there. Uh-oh. Look at that.
Little snark to today's question, David.
I like it. Should you publicly admit you don't like owning the teams that you own? I mean, you could alleviate the problem, correct? Right? I mean, it's a pretty easy problem to alleviate, right? You just call somebody and say, hey, put the Knicks and Rangers on the market. I mean, combined, it'd only make you about $5 billion. I mean, it's no big deal or anything. I mean, seriously, he'd make $5 billion. He puts those 2 teams on the market, especially if one person wanted to own them both at the same time. Man, that's a real headache. Oh, man, I can't believe I got a meeting about the Knicks at 10 and then after lunch, the Rangers. Oh, man, I don't know. Oh, man, I really wish somebody else would take this problem off my hands.
It really is. It's a big problem that he has.
Right. I mean, we play at Madison Square Garden. Oh, yeah, I own that too. Yeah, and the Sphere and Radio City Music Hall. But that's it. See, apparently he's a musician at heart. A bad one, but he's a musician at heart. So he likes that kind of entertainment. This sports stuff, apparently it's bothersome to him.
I think it would be even more than $5 billion.
Well, let's see. I think the Knicks. See, the question is, what could the Rangers get? The Knicks would get 3.
Only 3?
What did Ishbia play for the?
Oh, that's right. The Suns went for 4. Oh, you're right.
The Knicks are worth 5 by themselves.
I think they're worth 6.
You might be right.
I think you could get closer to 10 bill.
Well, if you're
for both.
Well, the Rangers would probably go for about 1.5 to 2. So you're right. No, I forgot about Ishbia. I thought we were still at like 2.4 billion for an NBA team. So I thought the Knicks were going to go for like 3-ish. But you're right. The Suns went for 4. Oh, hell. James, really, the coffee will taste a lot better. It's 7-8 billion, dude. Really, sell the team. You can't alleviate the problem, James. Honestly, it's hard. I understand. And quite frankly, since you're spending $2 billion every time you build one of those spheres, you may need to sell these teams.
That's what the sphere went for?
The one in Vegas was supposed to cost 1.4. By the time they got done building it, it was 2.
And he paid for it.
He paid for it entirely out of his own pocket. Right.
Man, that's some money.
And apparently he's building another one in London. And then I think he's toying with one in like Saudi Arabia or something like that. Yeah. I got to admit, I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. The Sphere. There's a golf course nearby. It's a big ball.
It's a big golf ball.
It's a big golf ball. Okay. But on the outside of the golf ball, it's like a Jumbotron. And so every now and then they just put an eyeball on it. And there's a long golf hole that points right at the hole. Could you imagine being on the tee and you look up and you're seeing this huge golf ball? That's an eye that's blinking at you.
So James Dolan does not like owning sports teams. We ask you what the biggest problem with being rich is. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network on Twitter or FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
See, I can't vote D, at least not for another 20 minutes while my wife is still home. Okay, I cannot vote D. It's
But you're not rich. This doesn't even apply to you. You're just imagining if you were rich.
Well, I understand, right? But this is make-believe land. I'm good with make-believe land. Okay, trust me. If you've been married 27 years, my wife's good with make-believe land too. Okay, she thinks about John Bon Jovi every morning. Okay, I mean, that's how you get through the day.
What's the one that you chased around in high school?
No. Can't mention her either. Once again,
the
wife's sitting 20 feet away. No, can't mention her. She's got to get in the car. No, can't mention her. Can't vote D. Starting fives next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
course, Paul, you know the answer is Dolan because Snyder's no longer an owner.
All day rain Sunday in Jersey for Patriots Jets.
Yeah, what did I see?
36.5 is the over-under. I think the Lions could be in trouble against your Falcons, David.
I will say the Lions' offensive line is all banged up.
Well, and their defense is banged up too. They lost
Gardner Johnson there,
Yep.
CJ.
and they've got an edge rusher.
Edge rusher.
The other edge rusher's out. So
Right. Well, considering that Hutchinson was a no-show, although I'm wondering it. When I heard he was held all day and they never called it. Well, kind of relief. They weren't playing them. So they save $1.5 million and 3 years from now they get a pick. So well, Paul, you can't compare a defensive lineman to Reggie White. I mean, there's only like 3 guys in the last 30 years that you can legitimately mention and put in the same sentence with Reggie White. It's the same with Lawrence Taylor. Although I got to tell you, Micah Parsons might be the first linebacker I've seen since LT that you can actually bring up and put in the same sentence, and I won't get mad at you.
He's a menace.
He is a tremendous player. Giants had a chance to draft him.
your teams.
Oh, yeah. Where'd he go? Like 12th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of the 5 best players in football right now. Maybe one of the 3.
Cowboys.
NFC Super Bowl pick.
Listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. We're an hour away from Roy Cummings talking about the Tampa Bay Bucs. In our 8 o'clock hour, we'll catch up with Jeff Cameron out in Tallahassee. Biggest regular season game that Florida State has played in, well, probably 8 years. Saturday noon. Will the Noles take back the ACC? Clemson has owned it since 2015. That's one of the things that is on the line Saturday afternoon to kick off a great Saturday of college football. We'll talk to Jeff Cameron about that. And 2 hours from now, our doctor makes his weekly house call, Dr. Roto, to answer all your fantasy football questions. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
In front of 15,145, the Rays blew a golden opportunity. You see, the Orioles had lost in the afternoon to the Astros 2-1. And then Tampa Bay went out. They had Savali on the hill, guy they acquired. Come on, Aaron. Need to do better. Brandon Drury, 2 homers, 5 RBIs for the Angels, who beat Tampa Bay 8-3. That score is kind of the theme of the night in baseball in the state of Florida. More of that in a moment. So the Orioles' magic number is down to 7, and they still have a 2.5 game lead on the Rays. Meanwhile, just about everybody else is in playoff contention in the American League One. I mean, we mentioned Houston beat Baltimore, so they're still atop the West, but they're only atop it by a half a game because Texas beat Boston 15-5 and Seattle beat Oakland 6-3. So both those teams are a half a game back. They're also tied with each other for the final playoff spot in the American League, a game behind Toronto, who beat the Yankees 6-1. So right now, the Rays would host the Jays in a best of 3 in a couple weeks, 4 against 5. Don't know if Toronto will be able to hold off the 3 teams from the American League West, 2 of which are likely to make the playoffs. But think about it, 4 teams for 3 spots, all separated by a game. That's pretty good. By the way, the Twins have reduced their magic number to 1. That means they've clinched a tie in the Central. They beat Cincinnati 5-3, while the Guardians got swept by the Royals. If this is how Terry Francona is going out, it's not well. All right. 8-3 was the score in Miami. Unfortunately, the Marlins didn't have the 8. The Mets did. In front of 12,045, Mark. You know, this is a big series, playoff contention. Yep, first time in a full season since they moved into Lone Depot Park there. And the faithful are really coming out. 10,000 and change on Tuesday, 12,045 on Wednesday. Mets hit 4 homers in the win. Marlins are a half a game behind the Cubs, who got beat by the Pirates 13-7. Arizona creating a little bit of room for themselves as the 5 seed in the National League. They scored 4 in the 7th, beat the Giants, who are fading fast, 7-1. So the D-backs are the 5 seed by a game and a half. They're 2.5 behind Philly for the 4 seed. Phillies beat the Braves in 10 yesterday, 6-5. So you got the Phillies as the 4. They'd host the Diamondbacks if the playoffs started today. And the Cubs, by a half a game, would be the 6 seed and play the Brewers, who now have a 7-game lead in the Central because they beat the Cardinals 8-2, and their magic number is 4. So that baby's over. Final 3 games of the year, Cubs and Brewers, may be meaningful for the Cubs. Don't look as if it's going to be meaningful for the Brewers. Hey, give it up to the Padres. You know, they had gone 24 weeks without having a winning streak of 4 or more, and they waited till they were damn near mathematically eliminated. Now they've won 7 in a row. Should I mention they're 4.5 out of the wild card, or is it too late?
No, you shouldn't.
Okay. All right. Washington beat the White Sox 13-3, and the Tigers doubled up the Dodgers 4-2 to stay mathematically alive in the Central. Some other baseball news. Brewers reliever J.C. Mejia, he got suspended for a year yesterday. That means that's a second PED violation. You get half a season with your first. Yeah, he did that stands alone thing, that Palmero horse drug thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was on the injured list, too. What the heck? Yankees prize 20-year-old prospect, center fielder Jason Dominguez. Yeah, Tommy John surgery. He's out 9-10 months. So expect him around the All-Star break next year. Orioles first baseman Ryan Mountcastle. Great name.
It really is.
And not only that, catcher or first baseman, right? Who are you going to throw it to? Mountcastle.
Sounds more like a left winger to me.
I understand. But if he has to play baseball, what are you thinking? DH or closer? Who are you going to call? Mountcastle.
Either corner he could play for me, first or third. There's not a place you couldn't put a Mountcastle.
Exactly.
Offensive line, defensive line, basketball, Mountcastle's either your big man or your three-point shooter. Just because I could pull that Mountcastle from deep.
Throw him in the WWE as well. Why not?
Yeah, that's true. So Mountcastle on the 10-day IL with an injured left shoulder. Twin shortstop Carlos Correa, who's been playing through plantar fasciitis all year, they figure they'll rest him up before the playoffs. They put him on the 10-day IL in his left foot. Hey, we got football tonight. The better game will be Georgia State and Coastal Carolina.
Not a bad game.
No, Coastal Carolina, 6.5-point favorite on ESPN. Georgia State's undefeated. They beat UConn by 3 touchdowns. Coastal Carolina's only loss was at UCLA by 2 touchdowns. That's not bad. But, okay, the NFL, Giants and Niners. Frisco's favored by 10. 10. Brock Purdy's never lost a regular season game as a starter. He's 7-0. By the way, the Giants are missing their left tackle, Andrew Thomas, their right guard, Ben Bredesen, their number 1 offensive player in Saquon Barkley, and one of their better pass rushers, linebacker Azeez Ojulari. And they're playing the Niners. I mean, this shouldn't be a problem. Other football news. Are you following this former Bears defensive coordinator story?
This is nuts.
This is up there with Chandler Jones for the last couple of weeks, who yesterday was officially placed on one of those, non-football lists because he's having a mental breakdown, and we're not joking. But the Bears, up until yesterday, their defensive coordinator was Alan Williams. Alan Williams was not on the sideline for the Bears-Bucs game this past Sunday. And they just said he was away from the team. And then people whispering, well, why is he away from the team? Well, he did the proverbial, I'm resigning, health reasons, me, my family. I just need to step away. And I'd really like to thank the Bears. They're a classy organization. There seems to be another story, though. Apparently, he's involved in something because the FBI, raided his home. And Charles Tillman, who used to play for the Bears a generation ago, is apparently an FBI agent. And last week, he picked up the phone and called the Bears and said, hey, I'm just going to give you a tip. You got a problem with your defensive coordinator. I can't give you the specifics, but I'm just saying I'm not the only FBI guy you're going to hear from in the next few days, okay? All right. Do with that what you want. By the way, go Bears. So they're in need of a new defensive coordinator, but then again, their head coach was a defensive coordinator, so he'll probably just keep calling the signals. Hey, it shouldn't be a problem, though, because they've got Justin Fields, who's playing horribly, and he's 5-22 as a starter, and they're taking on the Chiefs this week, right, Mark? Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yes.
I do like that the Bears did see the need to point out to everybody that the FBA had not been to Hallis Hall in connection with Williams. I really like the fact that they had to come. Hey, look it. our coach resigned because the FBI raided his house, but the FBI was not here. Nothing to see here.
There was a report, though. The reason they had to come out was somebody reported that the FBI was going through Hallis Hall. And so the Bears wanted to say, no, we don't know what's going on with him. Besides, he's resigning for health reasons. And no, the FBI is not on the second floor. No.
Just think you don't really think NFL teams have to clarify midweek. Right. That's all.
But this is how bad a day it was for the Bears yesterday. Their defensive coordinator having to resign because apparently the FBI is investigating him is only the number 2 story of the day. Most teams, that really would be the lead. Not with the Bears yesterday. See, yesterday was the day that Justin Fields, their quarterback, did I mention he's 5-22 as a starter? Did I mention he and they have lost 12 in a row? I digress. It's his day to meet with the media. So when the media was getting around to, Justin, you're struggling.
You suck.
Well, I don't think they used that word. I think they
used everything they could around it while asking questions.
They did. I think they started with struggling and then figured they would go from there. And so they asked him, why do you think that is? And he said, well, I'm playing too robotic out there. All right. I just got to let it fly. And so then somebody followed up and said, well, why do you think that is? And the very next word that came out of his mouth was, quote, coaching.
Coaching.
Unquote. Miller and Moulton can't say a word. We begged for 6 seconds of truth. 6. He gave it to us. He gave it to you. Can't ask it. It's his truth. Whether it's the truth or not does not matter. That is what he believes is his truth. That's all we're looking for. That's it. Who are we interviewing? Justin Fields. We're wanting what? His truth. Justin, why are you struggling? I'm playing too robotic. Okay. Well, why is that? Coaching. Thank you. Would you mind telling your head coach we're ready for him now? Remember, the FBI forcing your defensive coordinator to resign is only the second biggest story of the day. Kareem Hunt re-signed with the Browns. That took a day longer than I thought it would. 1 year, $4 million. I'm sure he's walking around going, oh, we couldn't have done this during the offseason? What the heck? The Vikings acquired Cam Akers from the Rams. Do you know the Vikings in 2 games have 69 yards rushing? No, not per game. Total. That's not good. Once again, though, it's all Kirk Cousins' fault. The defense is bottom 5 in the league, and they're averaging 35 yards a game rushing. Kirk Cousins sucks. You got it?
And they're averaging 400 and some odd yards passing a game right now, too.
Right. Yes. Okay. To review, Tua sucks. Kirk Cousins sucks. Okay? It'll be a quiz later. You got it? Okay, go. Messi played last night, but he didn't even make it through the first half. He left in the 37th minute. He went limping off the field with an injury. I don't know what it is. Don't know if anybody's reported anything. When I went to bed, they didn't know what it was. Meanwhile, the guy who replaced him, Robert Taylor, scored twice. Inter Miami beat Toronto 4-0. They're 7 points out of a playoff spot, and they have 2 matches in hand on the team they're chasing. You get 3 points for a win. Mark, they almost control their playoff fate. That's how much of a comeback they've made with this.
And those are words we would have never said about the Inter Miami club just a month ago.
Dick Vitale recruited Phil Sellers to Rutgers 50 years ago. He's the best player in Rutgers history. He led the undefeated Knights to the Final Four in 1976. People only remember the other undefeated team in that 76 Final Four. You know, Bob Knight's Indiana Hoosiers. Phil Sellers died yesterday at the age of 69. And Jim Nantz is going to be inducted into, at the very least, his 4th Hall of Fame. The PGA of America is putting him into the Hall of Fame. He's already in the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Do you think he'll ever be put in the World Golf Hall of Fame? I don't know if broadcasters are in the World Golf Hall of Fame. I really don't.
If they are, he should go in.
I agree with that. So, but Jim
What
Nance.
Hall of Fame jacket am I going to wear tonight? Hello, friends. Let me pick out a Hall of Fame jacket to entertain you for this evening. Would you like some wine?
And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was
the starting five. We're up against it. It's Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening right here. Hello, friends, to the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I knew spouse or mistress would win. I knew it. My answer was what house to put the wife in versus what house to put the mistress in. It would be the biggest problem about being rich. Wait, is that an option? I actually think it's fair to compare Micah Parsons to anyone, to any linebacker.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Football heats back up tonight. One college game. Hey, you can bet on it. It counts. Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. About 45 minutes later, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Giants and 49ers. San Francisco, a whopping 10-point favorite. 10. Brock Purdy still undefeated as a starter in the regular season. Giants with a whole list of starters out with injury on a short week. Back-to-back road games. They've been on the West Coast now for nearly a week. Should go swimmingly, I think. Swimmingly.
All right. Which game are you taking the points? Giants 10.5.
No.
Texans 9.
Who are they playing?
Jacksonville, in Jacksonville.
Absolutely. All over it. Texans have won 5 straight in Jacksonville. 5. Yes. If you think about it, Jacksonville has struggled this year. They had to rally late to beat Indianapolis. They didn't score a touchdown against the Chiefs. You're giving me how many points?
Giving you 9.
A team that's beaten them 5 straight games in Jacksonville? Yes. I'll take it.
The Ravens are an 8-point favorite over the Colts. Taking the Colts in the 8?
Well, here's the thing. I don't expect Richardson to play. He didn't practice yesterday. He's still in the concussion protocol. Don't you think they're going to be careful? I mean, he is, quote unquote, the franchise. Don't you think they play it safe with him?
Yes.
So we get Minshew, though.
Right.
And which way you leaning on Minshew? Do you think that actually gives them a better chance to win or cover? Or because their starters out,
If it was a representative team, if there was a little different team, but with no Taylor, I like Richardson's chances better than Minshew because he can run around and do things that Minshew can't. So, no, I like the Ravens in this game.
Okay, I would stay away from it. It scares me. Baltimore did not look good in beating the Texans at home and then looked really good in beating the Bengals on the road.
Dallas, who's looked like the best team in the league, laying 11 against Arizona, who has looked good in both games. They've not won, but they've looked good in both games they've played. They've played very hard.
Yeah,
11,
but they played 2 teams from New York. Now they have to play somebody from outside of North Jersey. So, now you wonder, whether or not the competition gets tougher.
They had Arizona week 1. I mean, they had Washington week 1.
No, I thought you were talking about Dallas.
Right, yeah. That's okay, Arizona. I'm sorry. But, yeah, Arizona's played 2 teams hard.
Yes, they have. Yeah. And they have faltered in the fourth quarter of both of them. Listen, once again.
This is actually to Arizona. This is a rivalry type game.
It is. It's in Dallas, though, correct?
No, it's in Arizona.
Oh, okay. Well, there'll be, a lot of Cowboys fans there. It'll be like the Niners playing in L.A.
Very much so.
Here's the deal, Mark. I said at the beginning of the season, over the last 2 years, who's been the best team in the league against the spread?
The
It's
Dallas
been the
Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. And who's 2-0 against the number so far this year?
The Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys in their last 36 regular season games are 25-11 against the number.
Arizona 2-0 against the number this year as well, though.
They are.
You can laugh all you want over there, but they.
How about this? You taking Dallas in your survival league?
I already did.
I wonder how many people are taking the Niners tonight.
I think I am.
Well, you can't do both.
No. I took Dallas. I've already taken Dallas this year. I took them last week against the Jets.
Oh,
okay. I've already used Dallas. They're not available to me anymore.
Gotcha. So when you said I already did, you didn't do it for this week. You did it for last week.
Yes.
Gotcha. You confused me there.
That's
All
my
right.
fault. I apologize.
So you've already used the Cowboys. So this week you're going to use the Niners.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to send that email during one of the commercial breaks.
Okay. Curious, what's the Dolphins-Broncos spread?
6.5, I thought.
Really? Seriously?
Seriously.
It's that low? I'm pleasantly surprised. Don't you have to bet the Dolphins? I mean, help me out here. Denver's lost 2 games, both at home, to the juggernauts that are the Raiders and the Commanders. I mean, how many teams have been more impressive through 2 weeks than the Dolphins? Maybe the Cowboys? I mean, you got to put right now, your top 5, if you're doing a stupid power NFL poll, don't the Dolphins have to be in the top 5? In fact, who in the AFC would you rate ahead of the Dolphins right now based on the first 2 games of the season?
Nobody.
Yeah, I don't think you could.
Nobody.
Not in
Who's
the
better
AFC.
than the Dolphins? Nobody.
Right. I mean, maybe Baltimore, but I don't think so.
You could put the Cowboys in front of them, and you could put maybe the Niners in front of them if you wanted to.
There you go. There you go. And I'm only having to lay 6.5. Hell, they just went to New England, beat the Patriots by 7. I can't beat Denver at home by 7? I'm surprised it's so low. What don't I know here? Well, don't answer that. The answer's a lot, but anyway. So there you have it. Some of the games this week. You didn't even mention the Chiefs and the Bears.
I didn't get to because we kind of jumped right to that Dolphins game. And then you've got the Chiefs with that monster number that keeps growing, by the way. 12.5.
Well, that's because the Bears quarterback came out yesterday and said what's holding him back is coaching. And some people think that might adversely affect the team.
So of all of the teams that have big numbers, the only one you're willing to take the number is Houston getting the 9 against Jacksonville.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'm playing the trend. And I know the Texans have injuries. You know, I wish I had known they were going to miss 2 offensive line starters against Indianapolis. Probably wouldn't have bet them. But, whatever. Got to take your lumps. So, yeah, I'll give me the Texans in the 9 against my Jags, my number 1 seed Jags. For whatever, listen, Houston's a problem. Going to Indy was a problem. And guess what? They were trailing with 6 minutes to go. So hosting Houston, for whatever reason, it's a problem. Okay.
But this is not the sexiest of NFL weeks.
Nope.
Because the games with the low numbers are games that I don't think a lot of people are interested in. Now, Chargers, Vikings has interest. They're both 0-2. One of their seasons is over.
Okay. Well, I'll offer it to you one more time. Kirk Cousins for a 1 and a 3. Honestly, I'd call the Vikings up and I'd say, here's the deal. If he makes it through Sunday healthy, okay, I mean, I want to do the deal today. Today. In fact, to do the deal today, I'll give you a 1 and a 2. I'll give you a 1 this year in 24, and I'll give you a 2 in 25. If you do the deal today, I'll give you a 1 and a 2. On Monday, it's a 1 and a 4. All right? Get back to me. I'll hang up and listen. Listen, come on now. Stop it. The Jets quarterback sucks. Just stop it. Admit reality. Admit it. He's not good. You ain't doing squat with him at quarterback. Squat. You are wasting a year with a top 10 wide receiver in the league, with a top 5 defensive lineman in the league. Your tackles aren't getting any better, by the way. They're only going to get older or fatter. Can you afford to throw away a year when you're a team that has had 1 winning season in the last 12 years?
And that's the most intriguing game. The Jets-Patriots, I'm floored by. What is it, like 14 in a row the Patriots have won?
14 times in a row they've lost to the Patriots.
14 in a row.
Right.
And the Patriots are a 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Jets.
How many points do you think the Jets are scoring Sunday? The Dolphins scored 24 against New England. Philly scored 25. How many points do you think the Jets are scoring? Think they get to 20?
No.
Okay.
No.
So do the math.
Vegas has the game 2017 New England, for the record. 36.5 your over-under, 2.5's the number. 20 to 17.
Think about that. The New England Patriots are 0-2, having lost both games, granted, against teams we think are good, at home. First time in 22 years they're 0-2, by the way. First time in like 45 years they're 0-2 with the first 2 games being at home. And they're a favorite at the Jets. Why do you think that is? I'll go out on a limb and give you an answer. Zach Wilson. That's why.
Put it this way, David. I think the Jets defense has an opportunity to score more points than the Jets offense in this game. Certainly more touchdowns.
Don't talk to me about first-round picks if I'm the Jets. First off, the guy who's doing the drafting, yeah, he's hit on a couple. He also drafted Zach Wilson and Mekhi Becton. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. He's got a 50-50 chance of drafting a bust. You give me Kirk Cousins in here before this season goes to blank. Somehow, some way, get me to 2-2. I'll get 2 weeks to get Cousins ready. We'll go to Denver at 2-2. I can salvage this season. I don't want to hear it about draft picks. I don't want to hear it. They're not that valuable until they prove that they're valuable. Don't tell me they're valuable. I can bring in one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league tomorrow, and you're telling me, nah, you can't give away the draft picks. Seriously. Watch Zach Wilson play 4 more quarters and get back to me. 12 of 27 Sunday, by the way, 3 interceptions.
By the way, the sneaky good game on the NFL slates, Atlanta at Detroit. Because Detroit better watch it or they're 1-2. And Atlanta, off to the great start. The quarterback looks like he's got a little something going on. They've got a weapon in they got a receiver, they got a running back, they got a tight end. Detroit's defense still sucks. This just in. And Atlanta's getting 3. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening right here, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, that's a great analogy, KW. Adam's obsession with Gardner Minshew is very Jeremy Lin. That's outstanding. Minshew had like a month, so did Lin.
Yeah. What was Minshew's most impressive win in that run?
He had a Thursday night win against a division rival. I know that. We did the game. He played well. But also, you know, the team was down. They had just lived through Blake Bortles, and he gave them a dose, a breath.
A boost.
Life. He gave them life.
The Knicks were not good, and Linsanity came in and gave them life, and it was like, hey, this is fun.
Perfect timing, too. I mean, Melo was injured.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Then Melo came back, and it was all over.
Well, a lot of people believe it was because Melo said to Jeremy Lin, give me the ball.
Hey, remember, this is my team, kid.
If we're going to suck, it's going to be with me.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
None of this New York times cover whatever.
See, Adam remembers. It's one of his top 3 moments of life.
Minshew mania. Oh, beating Denver. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, KW, I think Minshew does have a lot of Taylor Heineke in him. Where, Heineke helped the Commanders win the 7 games one year and steal the division and had a plucky playoff performance. And, yeah, can he play in the league? Sure. Can you win with him? Short term.
Was that 2018?
What, the 7-win season?
No, we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. See, it's the Miller and Moulton Shape Up. It began this week. And for most of you in your everyday life, a shape up means, diet and exercise. It's a radio show shape up. So we've got to tighten things up. That's what I was told by the gentleman whose name is the first on the show, Mark Miller. And so he says we're going to start with a poll question every day early. So we're 3 for 3 now on the shape up. All right, and the last 2 days, I must admit, good questions, good response, one of which surprised the heck out of us. Yesterday's did not. 85% of you are like, let us know when that Hard Rock betting app is operational. We're going to be placing bets, whether we've done it before or not. So, okay. 73% of you 2 days ago thought ESPN made the right decision in not showing the Nick Chubb injury. Miller and Moulton disagree, but that's okay. It's all right. Now, we're trying to understand how James Dolan feels, the current owner of the Knicks and Rangers. Mark, he's feeling a bit down.
Right. He really doesn't like owning the Knicks and the Rangers.
And believe me, Knicks and Rangers fans, especially Knicks fans, don't like him owning the Knicks and Rangers.
And we ask, what's the worst part about being rich? Because if you're James Dolan, it's apparently, owning sports teams is his most difficult part about being rich.
Right. Everything else about it he loves. Being able to go to the concerts, build arenas, own arenas. That's great. Just the damn tenants he doesn't like. So, Mark, what are our choices?
Owning sports teams, which home should I visit, which car should I drive, spouse or mistress, which is running away with early voting. It's not nearly as popular as our last 2 poll questions. We may have whiffed on this one, David.
Okay.
We may have to go a la Dan Patrick show and have a second poll question here mid-show.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, here's what I'm wondering. Could we have a 5th option, which is what house to put the wife in and what house to put the mistress? No?
That is difficult.
It's complicated.
And you got to make sure you know which is at which time.
Well, in theory, you're just here. You get the Vail house, and then you get the Palm Beach house. You're not allowed to go visit the other. It's your home. You only have one. See, I have multiple. You have one. That's need to set the ground rules, Mark.
Always the case.
That's when I win Powerball, which is nearly 700 million. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the ground rules. My wife. Right. Okay, I wanted to say that out loud. Maybe I'll believe it one day.
Keep trying. Keep trying.
Yep.
21,000 the text line 21000. We were just quickly kind of doing our own little power rankings, and someone texted in theirs, and they just went Dallas, Niners, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Buffalo, Miami. No. That might be your thought, but I'm sorry. You can't put Buffalo ahead of Miami right now. They lost to the Jets.
They also put the Ravens over Miami.
2-0. You want to put the Ravens there?
Good. Honestly, the Dolphins haven't won anything. Okay, I'm fine if I'm a Dolphin fan. Good. Put a 7th. Honestly, just ride the Chiefs. Hell, the Ravens have shown they can win. They don't start losing until Lamar gets hurt. Okay, we haven't proven we could win. We were 3-0 last year, and we're lucky to finish 9-8. I'm fine, honestly. If I'm a Dolphin fan, I'm like, please stop talking about us. Just stop talking about Tua and Tyreek and what have you. And you like Mike McDaniel's personality. Forget my coach's name. Honestly, just leave us alone.
Better to be underrated than overrated, of course.
Well, that's not going to happen. This person is on an island because, trust me, the national media is already starting to talk about the Miami Dolphins.
You know why?
They are a shiny new toy.
They're getting the fever.
Yeah.
Well, because their offense is like a cherry red Ferrari.
Exactly. They're fun. See, they're fun. Tua and Tyreek are fun. Yeah. I know. That's why it just hey, listen, this is where Mike McDaniel's got to come out and go, listen, we haven't won anything. You know, the Bills have won this division how many years in a row? Okay, you shouldn't be talking about us. Before them, it was the Patriots. Okay, honestly, don't talk about us. By the way, Aaron Rodgers is with the Jets. I know he's hurt, but go back to talking about them. We haven't done anything yet. Seriously,
Well, when they flipped the script, you know, they went into those meetings and Aaron Rodgers got hurt and said, "Who are we going to talk about?"
I know. If I'm Mike McDaniel, I'd walk to the podium and go, "Hey, what's LeBron doing today?" Honestly, hey, how about them Cowboys? Huh?
That's the one good thing that Miami has going for them. The Cowboys look like world beaters, and that does take a lot of the oxygen out of the room from the national media.
Honestly, come on now. I just, what are you talking about us for? We haven't won anything. Well, you guys are off to a 2-0 start. Yeah, it's nice. We were 3-0 last year, by the way. We were 8-3 at one point last year. I mean, we've just leave us alone here. We have to prove that we're worthy of being talking about. We have to get to January. We have to win in January. Mark, that's another thing. Guys, tell you what, you're wanting to hype us up. I have a question. How many playoff games has this group of Dolphins won?
I love your idea of a press conference.
Yeah.
Act the media with your mediocrity.
No, I'm not attacking the media at all. I'm just trying to pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. I mean, back in the day, Bill Parcells could call the New York media commies when they started to say nice things about the Giants. That was Nick calls them rat poison. You guys are bringing rat poison into my locker room when you're talking too nicely about my team. Parcells called them commies. Okay, that's all. Mike McDaniel, he's not going to go rat poison and commies. That's not his personality. That's not Tua's personality. But I could see them turning it back around on the media and say, hey, listen, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I just have a couple questions for you. When's the last time we won a playoff game? Anybody know? Anybody? Oh, I'm sorry. I believe it was Bill Clinton was president, right? Okay, next question. Yes, tell us how good we are. Right, next. How about we're on to Denver? See, here's the good thing, Mark. You could be 11-0 and just go back to, once again, guys, I have a question. When's the last time we won a playoff game? When's the last time we won the division? Honestly, that answer is 2008, by the way. And then out of the side of your mouth, you go, and that's because Brady got hurt. But there you go. I mean, so I'm telling you, this is easy. I could keep the media off us all year. This would be very easy. Guys, I appreciate what you're trying to do. It's cute. It's fun. And, it really is. And if you want to pump up our players individually, some of whom really deserve it, Like I would say, hey, talk about Clem, who's filled in at left tackle. Say all the nice things you want about him, but not about us as a team. We haven't done anything.
Good luck. I mean, I would love you to be a head coach's PR guy one day and offer this type of advice.
Well, listen, I told you it's another reason why you and I should be rich. We should be James Dolan. We could run the Knicks into the ground just like him, but man, our pressers would be great.
And we wouldn't suspend any members of the media.
We wouldn't.
Wouldn't go all Lincoln Riley.
Right. And what did that talk about now? All of a sudden, I got to root against somebody. Man, dude, lighten up. Please. Pete Carroll was giving away plays. He invited everybody to practice. He invited the opposing team's coaching staff to practice and then went out and beat them by 4 touchdowns. Shut up.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
For whatever reason, my camera has just stopped working on StreamYard. Like my laptop camera works, and it's not that Chrome isn't allowing me to use my camera on StreamYard. It's just StreamYard thinks that I don't have a camera. Strange.
Can't you get in with just audio? You can't get in at all.
Oh, no, I can get in with just audio, but it would just be a gray screen. You know what I mean?
Right. Because it happens to me quite a lot, and I just got to hit the start cam again.
Yeah. I just says couldn't find camera.
Try it off your phone.
Yeah, it works on the phone. Matter of fact,
What's wrong?
Oh, no, nothing. I was just saying that for some reason.
No, KW.
I was just saying that for some reason my camera is not working on my laptop when I join StreamYard. On my phone, it's perfect. So,
Interesting.
in fact, the quality is amazing on my phone.
That's an interesting handle. Greek god Greasy.
So Garner Minshew went to East Carolina.
Yes.
Was he there when your son was there or no?
Yes.
Wow.
Was that a freshman senior thing? Ooh, if I could own any team, the Mets. Just because of the number of games.
Probably the Red Wings.
The Rangers would be a close second, but it'd probably be the Mets.
I wouldn't say the Heat just because I want I want Mickey Harrison to own it, not me. I care about them that much.
Good morning, Roy.
Morning, guys. How we doing?
Good. How you doing?
Very good, thanks. Except for the fact that the Cubs lost last night.
That's okay, Roy. The Marlins lost last night as well.
I know, that's good for
we
me.
are butting heads with each other.
Right.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
It's Roy against Felipe for that 6th seed.
Yep.
Amazing what we're wishing for now, huh?
Yeah.
Tell you what, though, you get it as a 6. You get the Brewers in a best of 3.
Yeah.
Then you get the Dodgers, whose pitching is in shambles. I mean, this, do you really want the Braves?
No.
I'm telling you, the Phillies made it as a 6 last year. I'd rather be the 6.
They did. Yeah.
Here we go.
I'd rather be the 6 than to be the Phillies.
Well, I'd rather be 6th than 7th. It's fun to get there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's that day and time for Roy Cummings. He covers the Bucs, and he joins us once again. You can follow him on Twitter/X or Twix, as we call it, at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. Top of the morning to you, and we should compliment you. We just did a segment. The Dolphins are getting all this good press and what have you. We should give you some good press. You tried to warn us and said, this team's better, guys, than you're giving them credit. Well, there are 9 2-0 teams, Roy, and you're covering one of them. How about them Bucs?
Yeah, how about them Bucs? All right, and now I'm going to be the guy to tap the brakes just a little bit, okay? The Vikings are the Vikings, which means they're not going to win in big moments and are going to lose the odd game that they should win. And the Bears are the Bears. So, but hey, you know what? You don't control the schedule. That's who's out there. If you lose those games, you start to really question yourself. So, look, the Bucs have gone out and won 2 games that were winnable games. They played very well in them. I'd say they played, at least half a very good game against Minnesota and a very good game pretty much throughout against the Bears. They've had some challenges, but those are good challenges to learn from. So I think they've set themselves up pretty good for a tougher stretch of the schedule right now.
And this is now Todd Bowles' team. And, last year may not have really been all his team. It wasn't set up that way. This now with a younger group, the way he's coaching, he's made this his team, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he has, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm sure he's a little bit more involved offensively now. With Dave Canales. Tom Brady was really running the show, and he and Tom Brady had virtually no relationship whatsoever. I think if they passed each other in the hallway, there might have been a hello or a how you doing or a nod, but that was about it. But no, he's a lot more involved in the offensive side of things. And you know what? And Jason Light, made sure that they went out and got somebody who was willing to run the ball, that it wasn't going to just be, 80% passing all the time. They have to be more balanced, and I think they're still trying to get there. But yeah, this is his team, and look, his stamp is all over that defense, and that's the biggest thing. And I still think that is the strength of this team, and I think there's strengths there that people don't realize. I think they're deeper than people give them credit for, and I think it's going to show throughout the course of the season. They're just very solid defensively, and potentially quite devastating if they can get the right rush lanes and create some opportunities for the secondary. They'll take the ball away from you.
Well, I have to admit, I don't know if impressed is the word, but happy for Bucs fans. Devin White, man, that Levante David talk really registered with him. I mean, we talk about leadership and all that, but when Levante pulled him aside and was like, listen, dude, okay, I'm handing this sucker off to you.
Yeah.
The organization's going to take care of you. Trust me. Okay. Just go be the man. And now he's sending out tweets after the game. Man, I'm so glad I'm here. I so want to stay. I got to admit, I thought that we were going down a Roquan Smith road again, and he was 2-3 weeks away from being traded.
Yeah, I would have agreed with you on that. When it first came out that he wanted out, and I would have said the same thing. But yeah, you're right. Levante David, who learned from Derek Brooks, and I wouldn't be surprised if we find out down the road that Derek Brooks had an intervention as well with Devin White. And look, that position is it's one of the more quality positions in the history of the NFL. I mean, again, you think about it. Derek Brooks played that spot. He handed it off. There's a torch being passed here. He handed it off.
Even pre-Brooks, I mean, he was not a Hall of Fame player, but Hardy Nickerson handed it to Brooks.
Yes, and that's where it all started. It started with Hardy Nickerson, who's an absolute pro's pro. And, was out there every day, no matter what the schedule looked like or what the record looked like. And just giving it everything you had, being an absolute pro. And he showed Derek Brooks, and Derek Brooks showed Levante David. And Levante David is showing Devin White. That's how it's done. This is your team. It's going to be your team. If you go somewhere else, you might get a whole bunch of money and you might get, a lot of pressure put on you, but you won't be the guy. He'll be the guy here in time. He just has to wait his turn. His money will come. He'll earn it. He's already earned it. So he's going to get paid, barring some devastating injury, obviously. But at the end of the day, he'll get what he's looking for, and he'll get a lot more. He'll become a legend in this Bucs defense.
On the other side of the ball, Baker Mayfield's playing pretty damn well. Complete nearly 70% of his passes. He's not making mistakes. And that's, the competency of the quarterback position. And obviously they had it with Brady, but you didn't know coming into this year what you were going to get out of Baker. And so far, we've seen good Baker.
Yeah, we have. And what I like about it is that we're seeing good Baker even on the deep ball. He's taking some chances, not a whole lot, but still, even when he does, he's completing those plays. I think he's a lot more comfortable with the offense than I expected him to be this early in the season. Coming in an off season, it's tough. You're learning a whole new scheme and everything else. And I mean, this guy's had to forget 3 schemes in a year before he started learning this one. So difficult challenge for him, especially with all the new bodies and everything else. But he's really taken it on. And I think he's proven that he has matured. This is a guy who's obviously put in the time. He's getting there early. He's watching film. He's studying the playbook. He knows exactly where he needs to be, what he needs to do. He's making good decisions. I think he's matured a little bit as a quarterback. It's shown so far for sure. Now let's see what happens when they're behind a little bit, and they need him to take some of those chances when they need a couple of scores. We'll see what happens. But overall, yeah, you got to be really pleased with the way Baker Mayfield has played and how smart he's played.
Is the running game good enough right now?
Yeah, I think it is. And I keep thinking that at some point the offensive line is going to give them what they need to create, the holes. We see flashes of it here and there. But they're going to need, I think they're going to need Rachaad White to just, get a lot of extra yards after contact. I think it's good enough. I'll tell you what, guys, Leonard Fournette is out there.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just
Take it,
wondering,
David.
the Browns said initially after the Chubb injury, we're going to go with our guy. And it's like, hey, hold on a second. Why don't you just bring Kareem Hunt back? I mean, why don't you just call Leonard Fournette back? I mean, come on. What are we missing?
Right. I don't think it would be a bad idea at all. I'd be unless, and the Bucs will know more about him than anything. They'll know about attitude, desire, health. They'll know everything more than anyone else, really. But at this point, and look, okay, so you lost Chase Edmonds. It's not devastating to your running game. I still think Sean Tucker is going to prove to be a real star. But just for depth purposes, I'd be giving Leonard Fournette a call and saying, okay, what kind of shape are you in? Come in, let's take a look. At least still look under the hood and see what's there.
And by the way, Mark, it is interesting. Of all the running backs that we have mentioned, Fournette has not been linked even to a workout with anybody. I mean, it's almost, you almost have to wonder what his desire is at this point. He has not been linked to a single team in the last 2 months. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. And I again, you said desire. I think that might have something to do with it. But again, the Bucs, maybe he's just looking for a specific spot. Maybe he's done. I mean, but I would think he would retire if that was the case. He would have come out and said, "Look, it was a great run, won a Super Bowl, very happy, played with Tom Brady. How can you be upset about that? Bucs gave me a shot. I earned my money. I'm good to go." But we haven't heard that from him. Until we do, I think he probably wants to play, and maybe there's a specific spot he wants to be in. Maybe Tampa's it. I don't know. I'd give him a call for sure.
You were talking about how high they were on Trey Palmer. He's not had a whole lot of targets. It's just a matter of a young guy working into the lineup.
Yeah, I think so. Look, before you start throwing the ball around to Trey Palmer, you got number 13 and number 14 out there. So, let's not forget about those guys. They're obviously established and they're great running with great routes. But Baker Mayfield kind of hinted at it a little bit. You got to pick your poison a little bit here with the Bucs on offense when they throw the ball. If you're going to double cover Mike Evans, well, he's going to have Chris Godwin. And if you start double covering Godwin, you're going to have Evans. So those are the first two options. But if you get Trey Palmer out there, you're going to have some real issues. I think as we get on into the season and everybody starts to understand things a little bit better, they start getting into the second chapter and third chapter of that playbook. That's when you're going to see Trey Palmer show up. There's going to be a game here real soon where he's featured a little bit. The argument will be, well, why didn't you throw to Mike Evans more? Why didn't you throw to Chris Godwin more? And it's going to be, well, because this kid was wide open. And we've got a budding star here.
Are you sure they can't afford to pay Mike Evans? I mean, I could ask the question the other way. Are you sure they can afford not to pay Mike Evans?
Well, I'll answer that with this, and as I'm going to transcend into a different sport, one of our favorites, hockey. The Lightning came out yesterday addressing the Steven Stamkos issue, saying, and Brian Brisebois said, really, I love the fact that he was, so open about it. He said, look, we're going to take this season and see where we are at the end of the year and see where Steven Stamkos is. Coming off two of his best seasons ever, that's quite a bold statement to say, but it makes sense. See where you are. You might be at the beginning of a transition out of, the halcyon years here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It may be the same with the Buccaneers and Mike Evans. These guys are over 30. Maybe you just have to take a look this year and say, okay, where are we? How much, does it make any sense for us financially in a salary cap era to pay this guy this amount? And especially when you've got a young Trey Palmer waiting in the wings. So I think it makes sense to wait, see where everything is, see where he is, see where you are, get a gauge as to what you think you are as a football team going forward into 2024. Who's your quarterback going to be? And then worry about Mike Evans. You don't have to worry about it now. He's one of those guys like Steven Stamkos, face of the franchise. You're going to get 100% out of him no matter what. He's not stepping aside and saying, sorry, ain't going to be here. So what you're going to get out of him. So I think you take advantage of that opportunity and you say, you know what? Let's see what we've got, where we are at the end of the year, and take it from there. It just makes great business sense in a cap era. And you know what? If the player doesn't like it, look, it was your union that created the cap. So there you have it.
I know they won't trade him, but to let someone go at the end of the year and let him hit free agency and get nothing, at some point between now and Halloween, they got to figure out who they are as a franchise now, because there could be an opportunity to move them. And I don't think they'll do it, because I think they still believe winning the division is the most, getting into the playoffs and having a chance. And maybe that's right. But boy, I still don't look at this as a deep run playoff team.
No, I don't either. But again, look, we're already surprised at 2-0, and it's 2-0 against Chicago and Minnesota. If they give the Eagles a good game, and I don't think they'll win the game, but if they give the Eagles a good game and continue to, move forward here, the division is winnable. And if you can get to the division and everything's kind of gelled by the end of the year, if Baker Mayfield's just, running hot, you could go, a little bit. Maybe that is your quarterback going forward. Let's not forget, 4 years ago, Baker Mayfield was the guy. Everybody was fighting to get him. And so, a little maturity. We've seen these things happen before. So, I think they're in a situation where you just got to kind of wait and see and don't give up on the good assets you've got. Keep the assets you have. And if you don't, at the end of the day, if you don't get a 3rd round pick because you didn't trade Mike Evans, well, there's other ways to get 3rd round draft picks.
He's Roy Cummings. He covers the Bucs. Follow him on Twitter/X at rcummingsfhcn, rcummingsfhcn. Roy, we say this because of our fondness for you. Good luck to your Cubs, but you have to remember we are hosting a show on the Florida Sports Network, and you're a half a game ahead of the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, the Marlins have hurt the Cubs in the past. Could happen
yes, they
again.
have. So we'll see where we are a week from today when you're gearing up for that season finale against Milwaukee. Be well, Roy.
Thanks, my friends. Thanks.
Roy Cummings, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. We have not gotten into that, okay, because hockey camps are just opening up. But Stamkos at the beginning of camp was asked, hey, entering the final year of a contract, are you surprised there are no talks? He goes, yeah.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I am surprised and a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, to be honest. Next question. I mean, it's only the best player in franchise history, right?
Right. My jersey's going to hang from the rafters here.
Right. I mean, I got to see. We've danced with Lord Stanley how many times and played for it how many more? Yeah, I would have thought we would have talked about an extension by now. I've been really good the last couple of years too. But it's just me. It's tough. That would be tough. They're probably going to ask him to take a hometown discount. That's tough.
And in hockey, it's not out of the question that he won't do it.
I know. Stay living there, no taxes. I mean, they can make the case. But see, here's the thing, though. Hedman's the very next year after him. I mean, basically, whatever you're deciding with Stammer, you're deciding with Hedman, too.
Yeah.
Come on, they're both going to the Hall of Fame.
I got you, but a defenseman can last a little longer. You can get more out of a D-man than you can someone up front. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right.
But either way, they're both going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Oh, please. Yeah, those jerseys are done. Nobody's wearing them again. Jeff Cameron, are the Knowles taking the ACC back next?
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Felipe really should be sending in those credential requests right now.
Jeff's on hold.
Awesome. Thank you.
30.
Well, Canada relief when you put it that way.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are getting near that time where at the very least you need to be thinking about the questions that you're going to ask of one Dr. Roto in a little over 35 minutes time when he makes his weekly house call to answer your fantasy football questions. So you can begin thinking about them, and then in about 20 minutes or so, start texting them in 21,000 or going to our Twitch chat room and posing them, and we will ask them of the good doctor in 35 plus minutes. But right now we will ask the questions of one Jeff Cameron. He, warchant.com, Real Talk in Tallahassee. You can follow him on Twix at J Cameron Show, the letter J Cameron Show. Jeff, it's David and Mark. Top of the morning. How are you?
Great, fellas. Good to be with you. Good morning to you both.
All right, very quickly. Is Florida State ready to take back the ACC? Isn't that what Saturday afternoon's all about?
Seems that way, and I think prior to last Saturday's nail-biter against Boston College, everybody believed, maybe even rightfully so, they were poised to do just that. But that game brought about a lot of question marks, and this game will help answer those questions, I do believe. So, yeah, that's what's on the line here. I think most Florida State fans certainly, and I think this team to a certain extent, has been waiting for this moment since last year's game. And Florida State is certainly a lot better this year than they have been in recent memory. But are they good enough to go on the road and face what will be a desperate Clemson team, obviously, trying to hold on to what they believe is rightfully theirs?
Well, what's the biggest question that came to you from that Boston College game? Because as you mentioned, there are several places you could go, but what concerned you the most, Jeff?
Miscommunication on the defensive side of the ball throughout the afternoon, especially on third down, where they gave up a ton of explosive plays. 3rd and 13, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 20. It was so strange. It was one of the weirdest games I've ever watched, although it is the type of game that happens up there at Chestnut Hill for teams in Florida for some reason. It's bizarre. But that said, it's 31-10 Florida State. There's a sequence where Boston College has the ball, and I believe Coach Hafley, as well as that team, thinks the game is over. They've been outscored from a 10-3 standpoint, 28-3. And Florida State's on the verge of blowing BC out, and they convert a 3rd and 17. And it's like, for some reason in that moment, that the absolute loss of consciousness, I cannot fathom what happened from that point forward, because from there on, you have conversion after conversion on 3rd and long, and the middle of the field gets exposed by simple motion. So if that's not fixed, Florida State will go up to Clemson and lose. And that is something that could be a problem for Florida State, because it began with safety play. Akeem Dent is out due to injury, and while Akeem Dent is not an all-world player, does know where to be. And the player that they had to replace him with is a young man named Kevin Knowles, who they moved to safety in the offseason, and he looked completely lost. So they don't have a lot of options at that position. It is an area of weakness. And if they don't fix the communication, that could be a long afternoon.
The Noles are 77th in total defense. Do you think that's a statistical anomaly, or do you think that, for as good as they looked in the second half against LSU, that was the aberration?
Yeah, no, I don't think Florida State is the 77th best defense in the country. I think they're a top 20 defense. I think we would look at more advanced metrics in take into account some other things. But I have worried about depth at linebacker and depth at safety the entirety of the camp prior to the start of the season. I mentioned that their starting 11 on defense is very good. There are spots on this team, the defensive line, where they can withstand injury. But linebacker and safety wasn't one of them. And right off the bat, you had an injury at safety, and you're thin at linebacker. So, it can be exposed. And I think that they're going to have to, if they're going to beat Clemson, they're going to need their defensive line to really dominate in the run game and get stops on first down. If that happens, I think that Florida State will be all right. It's what they did, guys, against LSU. When you go back and look at that second half of the LSU game, that's total domination by Florida State's defense. They give up one late touchdown with the third string in. Other than that, they shut LSU out in the second half. And it's because when LSU attempted to run traditionally, somebody other than Jaden Daniels running around at quarterback, they averaged less than 2 yards a carry. If you can do that to Shipley and company, and that's an easier thing to say than do, then you're going to win this game too. But that's a big if.
Well, Jeff, the other side of the ball, though, is where I think Florida State could have an advantage. I mean, Duke was able to really do what they were able to throw the ball around, and I know that Duke gave up a bunch of yards. I'm not worried about that, but Florida State's receivers, to me, can take this game over.
I agree with you. I think Florida State's offense will go play well. I think Florida State's offense is the thing that if you're Florida State, you hang your hat on as a fan. You say, you know what, this defense may be up and down. We'll see. But I think we're going to go move the ball. And I think Florida State will move the ball. They're, they were missing 2 offensive linemen in the last game. It's strange how they've been hit with the injury bug so early, but it looks like they're going to get their starting center back. And that is a big deal because it's a starting center in Maurice Smith that's played a ton of football, that does a really good job pre-snap and kind of is the guide to what they do up front. If they're able to run the ball at all here, Clemson's in deep trouble because they have a plethora of weapons at wide receiver and tight end. And once they get that sort of counter game going with the RPOs off of it, and then they start the slip screen and they get outside, they really get into a rhythm, and it's a hard thing to slow down with all the weapons that they have. I think that's spot on, Mark.
He's Jeff Cameron, warchant.com, warchant.com. Follow him on Twitter /X at the letter J Cameron Show, J Cameron Show. We had Bud Elliott on yesterday, and we asked him about this and was Florida State ready and what have you. And he thought they were. He said this is the game that ultimately exposes Dabo not diving into the transfer portal over the last 2 years, which basically then gets down to, Jeff, if you could choose rosters, which one would you choose?
Florida State's. Bud's right. Florida State has better players. And it's happened quickly, and I think it's probably been hard to wrap your mind around if you're a Clemson fan. Florida State will have 10 to 12 players drafted in the upcoming NFL draft. They had 1 last year. Think about how quickly that has shifted. I think that's accurate, and his unwillingness to enter the transfer portal and to play modern football has been something that Florida State fans have been celebrating all along, knowing that is a mistake, that is hubris. Clemson's not devoid of good players. There are several of them that I could point to, but they had opportunities in the transfer portal to upgrade a wide receiver, to upgrade along the fronts, and they didn't do it. And I think that's a mistake. I think that comes back to bite them. It already has. I mean, when they lost to Duke, and I'm not trying to be a Clemson, expert here, but it's self-evident. When they lost to Duke, at that point they had lost 3 of their last 4 football games played. Clearly, they've taken a hit. So there's frustrations there amongst Clemson fans. It could very well be exposed this Saturday.
All right, on the other side, because I don't think the rosters are that far apart, Jeff, if Florida State were to lose this, you mentioned the safeties. What's the other part of concern where they've got to, is it running the football that they've got to do well? You know, we think they can beat them with the passing game, but if Clemson is to win this, where would Florida State screw it up?
If Clemson wins it, they'll expose Florida State's linebackers in coverage, and I think they might do that, or they'll simply be tougher. And that is a question I'm asking of this Florida State team. How tough are you? This is a game, Will Shipley runs the ball like a man. When you watch that guy, there's a whole lot of what for in addition to skill. And I want to see Florida State get chin checked in a game where Clemson will play desperate and see how well do they respond? They did to LSU. They bowed up down on the goal line, not once but twice. They made big stops when they had to on third down early in the second half. Do they have that in them against this Clemson team? I think Clemson will test their toughness. And then the only other area that I think that Florida State could get themselves in trouble in is if they continue to kind of run soft. You know, Trey Benson at the end of last year looked like a guy that you could really set it and forget it and get excited about with his size and speed at running back. But he's been really hesitant. And I don't know if he's overthinking it or what it is, but he has not run the ball with the same tenacity, the same ferocity that you saw a year ago. If they don't get that guy running the ball that way, I wonder if they won't make a change early in this game, because that's something that's been brought up through the first three games. But yeah, toughness comes into play here, and Florida State has to prove they're tough enough to go win this game.
Is this the biggest regular season game in 8-9 years?
Yeah, and it always, recency bias creeps in all the time. And you sense the energy around this program right now. It's hard not to say yes to that. But given that Florida State's in the top 5 and poised to be in a position to kind of take back the conference, I'd say yes. It's weird, though, I will say, because if they lose this game, by winning the LSU game in the manner they did, they're still in a position to rematch in the ACC championship. I don't think they'll be thinking of it that way, but it's hard not to think of it that way when you look at the rest of the schedule. But yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. It would be a definitive statement to go to Clemson and win this game. Say they were to do it going away, it would be huge for this program. There's no doubt.
Well, yeah, it'd be their conference again. Let's be honest.
It would be their conference again, and there's already a sense that it's about to be their conference. This would be the final nail in the coffin, I think, at that point. Also, Clemson would be reeling at that point, and you got an opportunity to take advantage of that in recruiting. Florida State's already gained an awful lot of momentum in recruiting, and now they're ranked in the top 5. You go win this game, and you can kind of maybe begin to have the conversation about, obviously the dominance of focus of power has changed hands.
He's Jeff Cameron, warchant.com, Real Talk in Tallahassee. Follow him on Twitter/X at the letter J Cameron Show. J Cameron Show. Jeff, thanks for your time, continued success, and hopefully you'll let us catch in with you in October.
Always enjoy it, fellas. Be well. It's good Saturday of football coming up. Take care.
Absolutely. And the Noles and the Tigers kick it off at noon, and then there's a trio of games at 3:30, and there's a couple 2-3 games at 7:30, although I have a feeling everybody's going to be watching the one, Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Great college football Saturday. Be nice if they space these out a little bit for us, but that's for
Right.
another day.
Right. See, then you'd need a commissioner. You'd actually need to sit down with the networks and work on schedules. They just cash the checks, Mark. They don't care about the fan. They just cash the checks.
Boy, and I've heard it from a lot of college football fans. Oh, I don't like these new rules. Games are the same damn time, taking the same amount of time. Don't know what to tell you. You want the money from the networks?
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Use the line. Use it. Use it. Shut
up
up and catch the checks.
Fact, that's another T-shirt. Miller and Moulton. Shut up and cash the checks. Even though the checks aren't that big. Thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see a picture of King Charles and it says, King Charles does this. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's Prince. Oh, yeah, he is the king now.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Apparently, he's doing well in the polls. He's had a good first year as king. Not quite sure what he's done, but John, I have been very lucky. I've never had anybody in a hotel complain about me doing the show. Now, I will say, I, in the last few years, have gone to great lengths in advance through Fox and ESPN to let the hotels know, hey, I need the most private room you have, whether it's end of the hallway, whether it's against a stairwell, whether it's against a maid closet, an ice machine, try to have it where I'm not talking directly into a bedroom. And there's usually one room like that on every floor. And, for a couple years now, I've been well situated to disturb as few people as possible. The other thing, John, to be brutally honest with you, the NFL hotels are really good. Been very lucky. I've been traveling, following Joe and Troy around. They stay in really good hotels. The walls are a little thicker in the NFL hotels than the college ones. I think that's a fair statement, Mark, don't you?
What's that?
That the walls in the NFL hotels are a little thicker than the walls in the college hotel rooms?
No doubt. No doubt.
Nope. Don't stay in a lot of inn and suites Sundays and Mondays.
Where are you staying and happy? Are you?
I don't, I got to look that up. I've been afraid to look it up.
Are you flying into
Pittsburgh? It's 2.5 from Pittsburgh. It's 3.5 from Philly. Oh, no, I won't fly into Harrisburg State College. No. Oh, no. 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 I ain't flying on, no. Because if there's the planes that you're flying into there on, no. There's any weather at all, of which apparently we're going to get hit with a pretty big rainstorm. Oh, no. Nope. Those flights get canceled. No. I like major airports. I like planes.
Yeah.
The only small plane that I regularly fly on is usually we fly in and out of Baton Rouge on like a 1-seater on the one side and a 2-seater on the other.
I thought you were going to say out of Jacksonville to Atlanta, but
Hello. Yeah, I have flown in and out of Harrisburg State College. Not a fan. Plus, the other thing, and I'll be brutally honest, I travel with equipment. I much prefer TSA because otherwise, if I go through regular security, I'm packed pretty tightly and they make you unpack it. It's a real pain for me. Honestly, it takes me 10 minutes when they go through my stuff to pack it all back again. And so if you go to a major airport, TSA's, it doesn't matter what hour you get there, TSA's open. So little things like that over the years. That's why I do what I do. Felipe, you got the play of the day ready?
Not there.
Okay. Oh, give me a thumbs up when he gets back. Let me know.
You got play ready?
Okay. Oh, yeah, Adam. TSA clear. I mean, yeah.
Oh, you go with the clear, not the cream.
I prefer my steroids a certain way, Mark.
Good.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We've already talked Bucs with Roy Cummings, the Knowles with Jeff Cameron. Dr. Roto makes his weekly house call in 15 minutes. Start firing away. 21,000 on the text line. If you're watching us, hi, on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, but fire away with your questions in the Twitch chat room as well. We will ask them of the good doc coming up in 15 minutes. Our poll question, Mark is intrigued by the fact that the owner of the Knicks and Rangers complained about owning the Knicks and the Rangers. Said it's basically a pain. And Mark can understand, I mean, he's worth tens of billions of dollars and Mark's worth 30, 40 bucks. And so Mark said, we're kind of the same guy. I know how he's feeling. How about if I handle the poll question today for my buddy James Dolan?
And with James Dolan saying he really doesn't like owning the Knicks and Rangers, we ask what's the worst part about being rich, owning sports teams, which car should I drive, which home should I visit, or spouse or mistress, which is running away with it right now.
And we knew that it would. As soon as, or when we came up with it originally, we did not have that as an option. And once Mark said, I'm going to add a fourth choice, and I saw what it was, I'm like, well, there's a winner chicken dinner right there.
And I will say it's the lousiest of our poll questions this week. We've been doing well with a response. My attempt at snark did not really work.
Okay. All right. We're learning.
We may retire this poll question early.
Mark, it's what is this week again? It's a shape up. When you start an individual shape up, okay, you've got a plan and things I'm going to do. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to eat this. And right about day 3, you go, I've had chicken the last 2 nights. How about if I do something different today? And, or, I've had the same cereal or oatmeal, whatever for breakfast. You know what? I want to do something different today. That's all you did. And now you realized tomorrow we got to go back to, the chicken or the oatmeal or whatever it is. That's all. It's okay. It's all right. Don't give up on the shake up or shape up.
Or the shake up, whichever one it is.
Right. Gut feeling. We'll make our picks tomorrow. I won't hold you to it. Gut feeling. Think it's the Knowles time? You think Dabo's empire, cracks?
When I did my season predictions, so many things revolved around this game for me.
Okay.
Because I initially picked Florida State to win this game. And then I went back and forth and I said, maybe Clemson wins it and Florida State gets them the second time. And they have a rematch. And Clemson's going to be so desperate in this game. But I think Florida State, with their receivers, has something that I don't know if Clemson can defend. So I'm leaning Florida State.
Florida State's pass defense has been inconsistent at best. Duke manned up on Clemson's receivers in the opener, manned up on them and said, beat us if you can. And while they moved the ball, they didn't score points. Don't you have to think Florida State takes a look at that tape and goes, because, I mean, you know, are you really going to look at who'd they play? Charleston Southern and FAU the last 2 weeks, and FAU's quarterback got hurt early, so that one turned into a complete mess. So you're watching the Duke tape. And aren't you, if you're Florida State defensively, going, well, hell, if Duke could cover them, if Duke can go man on these guys, I mean, isn't that the meeting you're having on Monday with the guys? You show them 10 minutes of tape of Duke's secondary covering Clemson's receivers and look right at them and go, you think Duke secondary is better than you? Or you think you can do that too? I'm just saying. I'd like to think you guys are better than Duke secondary. Otherwise, we would have recruited those guys. So what do you say, boys? You ready? We'll see. We'll see. For the record, during the offseason, I said Florida State was going to lose to both LSU and Clemson in September, and then they were going to run the table. And they were going to be the first team out of the playoff. They were going to finish 5th, but they were going to finish 11-2. Now, right before Florida State played LSU, I said, I know what I've been saying for the last 4 months, but I'm taking Florida State. So that might be a window into tomorrow. Just saying.
Time now for our play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
Game tied, Phillies at Braves. Bottom of the 9th, 1 out. WIP on the call.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The stretch. Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, right field. Towards the line goes Castellanos in foul territory. He makes the catch. Williams will tag, the spin, the throw, and he is out at the plate. Nick Castellanos guns down Luke Williams. Garrett Stubbs with the tag as Castellanos fires to the plate from foul ground. And we're going to the 10th inning. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the Braves had a man on third. Nick Castellano goes into foul territory, makes the catch, turns 2 at home plate. They go to extras, and the Phillies win a big one in Atlanta. Atlanta's really just taking a seat back. I mean, they already clinched the playoffs. They're so ahead of everyone else. They're just letting everyone beat them.
Although what is interesting is very quietly, the Braves only lead the Orioles by 2. And they do determine home field advantage in the World Series based on regular season record. Now, they're like 4 clear of the Dodgers, but they're only 2 clear of the Orioles if they mail in another week and a half. Just saying.
Should be enough for them not to mail it in, give them something to play for, which is, I think, the worst thing you can do if you're a baseball team is just coast to the finish line.
There's a stat out there. It's either the last 5 or the last 7 teams that were the first to clinch a playoff spot have all lost in the division round. Haven't even made it beyond the first round of the playoffs, so to speak. That the early clinching teams have not fared well lately in baseball. I think it's the last 5. So
something to keep an eye on as we are mere days away from the conclusion of the Major League Baseball season and then the postseason, as we've been watching the Marlins trying to hold on to that or get to that final berth in the National League. They're a half game back right now in the wild card race.
Tell you what, they have 79 wins, just a couple wins away from me winning the bet.
Yeah, 3 to be exact. 3. You got to get to 82, not 81. And you better get 3 more wins. Probably need 6 more, to be honest with you. I think 6-3 gets it done. Not sure 5-4 will.
No, I don't think 5-4 will.
And that was the number we circled a couple of weeks ago, by the way. We circled 85. We said we think 85. The one thing the Marlins have going for them, though, they win all tiebreakers except against the Giants. And the Giants are 3 games out right now. So if the Cubs and Marlins finish tied, the Marlins go to the playoffs. Marlins and Reds finish tied. Marlins go to the playoffs. Marlins and Diamondbacks finish tied. Marlins go to the playoffs. All right, let's switch gears.
21,000's the text line. Time to get your questions in now for the good doctor. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy football questions. That is next. Get them in. 21,000, the Twitch room. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X. Dr. Roto is next.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So, how many football players out of the top 10 most followed Florida Gators on Instagram, how many of the top 10 are football players?
Hold on a second. Gators on Instagram, how many are football players?
Yep, of the top 10 Gators that are followed on top 10 Florida Gator athletes.
1. I'm guessing gymnastics is like 5.
Gymnastics is 1 through 5 and 7. Graham Mertz is 6, ATN is 8, and then a swimmer and a track person are 9 and 10.
You know, I never found out. Florida hosted Wisconsin Sunday in volleyball. A, who won, and also B, did they set the attendance record? They were trying to sell the place out. No, Kenny Relief, he's not a bad manager at all. I don't know. I mean, he's never gone to the World Series or won a World Series, but I actually think he's better with younger teams. If the Mets are actually in transition, I actually think everybody think because he's an old guy, he'd be better with an older team.
Bless you.
Okay, Wes, help me. Can anybody translate what Wes is asking?
Yeah, Flowers and Collins for Waller and Addison.
Gotcha. Okay. Nope. SEC Me's coming up now. Yeah, today's the first day of autumn, right? 21st? I always get confused.
It's actually Saturday.
It's the what?
The 23rd.
What the hell? What is September just doing its own thing? What?
September 23rd. You're doing the damn football game on the. Why don't you tell Nestler so he can start the damn broadcast with it? Okay, it's the first day of fall. It'll feel like it. The weather will be beautiful. How about just shut up?
Say, Adam. Once again, you're asking multiple questions. So which one do you want? I'm only going to ask him one of your questions. What about Kareem Williams? And got to do a little better than that. Hold on. Flex and a PPR. Oh. So all risk, you want to know whether to start Kareem Williams? Was that it? It's Kareem Williams, right?
Isn't it
Karam?
It's Kareem, I think.
That's it.
He's on hold. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It is that day and time where the good doctor makes a house call. He's Dr. Roto. You can hear him Saturdays and sometimes even Sunday mornings, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. You can get all his info from he and his, highly talented and highly accurate staff at Dr. Roto, drroto.com, and follow him on Twitter/X also at drroto. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
I'm doing great. Healthier than many of the running backs in the NFL, which is sad to say. When I'm healthier than half the running backs in the NFL, you know you're in trouble.
Well, I'm going to start right there. Not so much for this week, but who are you trying to look at down the road? You are really good at, when we have our fantasy football symposium there, you get into trying to be ahead of the curve and drafting guys that are there later in the year. So when you look at the running back position right now, who would you be looking at to pick up in free agency waiver wires to stash on your roster?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I'm always looking at the backups. So, I'm in a lot of high stakes leagues that have 20 rounds. I was taking Kyron Williams in like round 18 of most drafts. Why? Because you never know what could happen. Cam Akers gets hurt. You've got Kyron Williams. So the guys I'm looking at now, how about this one? Here's a really obscure one for you. Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys. I love Tony Pollard. The guy got 32 touches last week. That's unsustainable, right? So there's a chance there. Maybe I take a shot on him. Maybe it's Tank Bigsby. Something happens to ETN. Maybe it's Roshan Johnson if something happens to Khalil Herbert. So I know it sounds kind of morbid, but that's really how you pounce in fantasy leagues, is that you just take a backup and you wait on him. If the guy stays healthy, then it's no value. If the guy gets hurt, look at Jerome Ford. Now he's got huge value.
Well, one of our questions in the Twitch chat room is, should they start Kyron Williams?
Yeah, you start Kyron Williams. What has the guy done wrong? I mean, he can catch out. They loved him last year. So let's understand something. They loved him. And the one game where they were going to not start him, but play him more, he literally got hurt. Well, that was the end of that idea. Gone. So now they started over. And, what's his face? Sean McVay really liked him in practice. That was the problem with Cam Akers. He wasn't a great practice player, and Kyron was. And McVay was just getting a little annoyed with Akers' act. So he was annoyed last year. So and McVay doesn't hide it. You know how some teams hide it better? McVay is just like, let's get this guy out of here. And he's telling the world. So that's why they didn't really get anything for him in a trade. I mean, what do they really get? A 6th-round pick versus a 7th-round pick? And they just got him off the team. But Kyron Williams is good by the goal line, catch, can block. He's definitely startable.
Do you start him over Mozart this week? That's one of the questions we got.
It's a really good question. I'm going to say yes in a PPR, but maybe no in a standard. But he's definitely startable. Mostert's just playing very well right now. And with Mostert, it's just like a hot hand. When he's got the hot hand, you play him. Because Jeff Wilson will be back at some point, then you won't play Mostert. But I think you ride him right now.
Doc, there's a comment in our Twitch chat room in which Mr. Butte says, I like this certain player, but his playoff schedule is rough. Is it too early to take that into consideration, or is that smart?
Both. Right, here we are, week 3. You got to get to the playoffs. But when you get to the playoffs, you're trying to win. So I think there was a player, give me 1 second. I believe it's C.J. Stroud. But I'll check for the Texans here with Dameon Pierce, because what happens is, if I'm not mistaken, they play Tennessee weeks 15 and 17. You want no part of Dameon Pierce in weeks 15 and 17 because Tennessee's got the best run defense that I've seen this year in the NFL. But then all of a sudden, Nico Collins looks pretty interesting to me. So Nico Collins is a player that I want if I get to the playoffs. But I got to get to the playoffs first. So I think it's a balancing act. So I think Mr. Boutte, and of course we love his name there, we think that it's a smart move, but we have to make sure we get to the playoffs first. So we don't want to just make deals based on weeks 15 to 17.
All right, T. Higgins or D. Hop? Who do you play?
I'm playing T. Higgins right now. I mean, I like Hopkins, but man, Cleveland's defense is playing pretty well. And Denzel Ward is, I don't know. This doesn't feel like a huge week for Hopkins, maybe 10 points. Maybe 12. It doesn't feel like a 20-point week.
Adam has Fields, and he wants to know what to do with them. Should he drop them for Jordan Love?
No, I think first of all, I don't love the matchup for Love this week. I think Fields, you're going to say he's playing against the Chiefs. I get that. They're going to be behind by about 30 by halftime. And Fields has already said, I'm not listening to my coaches anymore. I'm just doing what I want. Never what you want to hear from a player, unless his name is Justin Fields, because he doesn't care about plays anymore. He's just running, he's just throwing, and he's looked terrible. But I mean, last year he looked terrible too, until he started to be great. Maybe this is the week that happens. I don't want to miss out on that.
Pick one of these running backs: Rachaad White, Pacheco, or Kenneth Walker.
I think I like Walker at home. They're all good starts, by the way. There's nothing wrong with any of those starts, but I think I like Walker at home against Carolina. Carolina's run defense is suspect, and Walker didn't look great last week, but he did score 2 touchdowns. So let's give him 1 touchdown and let's give him, 80 yards.
SEC me wants to know, flex PPR, pick amongst these 3: James Cook, Aaron Jones, Christian Kirk.
Right now for me, it's Cook. The only problem I have with James Cook is the lack of touchdowns. It's not the lack of production. The production's good. But the touchdowns are going to come. So I think, especially against the Raiders, that game could be against the Washington. I think people are missing out there. I like Cook. I think it should be a decent game for him.
Question for the good doctor says, I've been offered Zach Moss straight up for Jerome Ford. Do I accept this trade?
No, you don't. You keep Ford. So let's talk about Ford for a second. All right, I sent out a blast from drroto.com yesterday. I have some friends who are insiders with the Browns. They were telling me all offseason they love Ford. Okay. And so there was a reason why didn't they sign Hunt? Why didn't the Browns sign Hunt? Why did the Browns sign Hunt? Because they liked Ford more. So now put Ford on this team. Now Hunt is back. Imagine there's 30 touches in the backfield. I'm giving Ford 18 of those touches. Not going to get them all, but I think he's going to get more than half. And I'll take that. Zach Moss, look, he had a good game, but he's not a great player. He's never been a great player. I mean, especially if Anthony Richardson is out this week with a concussion, I'm not interested.
Would you take Ford over Dameon Pierce?
That's a question. I like Dameon Pierce, but that he is so game flow dependent, right? When they're losing, he disappears. When they're winning, he's in there. This week, I don't love Ford because Tennessee doesn't let anybody run the ball against them. So Ford is totally dependent on receptions this week. So if you're in a standard format or a half-point PPR, Ford is not a great start. He's only a good start in a PPR this week.
Watson, Waddle, or Beckham? Who are you starting?
Well, you're always going to start Waddle if he's healthy. And I don't think we know the answer to that question, but I do think that Watson is going to play this week. So I'm prepared to play Waddle, and if not, then we go with Watson.
Waddle didn't practice yesterday, but today is really the telling day concerning he and a few of the Dolphins' injuries. All right, OK Music wants to know which quarterback, Cousins or Lamar?
Well, you got two good ones. I mean, this is almost one of those answers where I say you can't go wrong. I do like Lamar this week. I think he's going to have a big week. But a big week from Lamar is like throwing for 230 yards. The question is, am I getting the rushing touchdown? Kirk Cousins, that game's going to be a track meet. That's a game you just feel you want a piece of. So I'll probably start Cousins, but I won't feel good about it because I like them both.
Brian Robinson, Kenneth Walker, Rachaad White. Which one sits? He needs to start two of those three.
It's a good question. I think you can. So look, I liked Josh Jacobs last week. Why? Because I didn't like the Bills' run defense. Now Jacobs didn't play well, but the Raiders didn't play well. Brian Robinson played great. Are we overrating the Bills' run defense after 1 week against a bad Raiders team? I think we are. Rachaad White I like, but he's not running for a ton of yards against the Eagles. But he might catch some passes out of the backfield. So once again, I'll go to this. If you're in a PPR format, I probably am going to bench Brian Robinson. If you're in a standard or a half point, I'm going to bench Rachaad White.
Wes has a trade offer that he's considering. He wants your advice. Does he trade Flowers and Collins for Waller and Addison?
So Waller, I'm going to write this one. Waller, Addison for who? Collins?
Flowers and Collins.
Yeah. All right. I actually like Collins more than Addison. I do. I think he's going to end up being like a top 25 receiver this year. Not that I don't like Addison, but Addison has to deal with a lot of other guys there. So now we're looking at Flowers and Waller. Waller's a really talented player, and he's probably a top 3 at that position. But Flowers, I told you guys this at the summit. I love Flowers. This guy, turns his positions on a grain of sand. I mean, that's how twitchy he is. I think I'm going to keep the Flowers Collins side and just stream. You can go out and get Tate Otten. You can get Luke Musgrave. You can get Hayden Hurst. You can get Jake Ferguson. They're not better than Waller, but they're not going to kill you. And I get to keep Flowers and I get to keep Collins.
Najee Harris or DeAndre Swift, PPR league.
So look, I don't like Najee Harris, and I love Jaylen Warren. And I think right now that the Steelers offense has to change somehow. So I would think that Najee Harris is going to start to see fewer carries moving forward. I think it's going to switch to the 60% Warren, 40% Harris. But how am I not playing DeAndre Swift after what we saw last week?
Well, I think the switch that the Steelers need to make is that offensive coordinator, to be brutally honest, but I don't think Tomlin's going to do it, at least not in time for your fantasy league. Flex, Debo or Gus Edwards?
I think you're always starting Debo. But I will give out one for you tonight. Mark, you're going to like this one. If I had to make a slight wager, not that we can do that in Florida anytime soon, hopefully soon, counting the minutes, Elijah Mitchell with an anytime touchdown tonight. It's going to happen. Book it. Give me Debo in a game where they should be up by like 30 by halftime.
for the DraftKings and FanDuel players this weekend? You got any sneaky picks, some low-budget guys to think about putting in your lineup?
I think Flowers is one of those low-budget guys. Josh Kelly disappointed last week. He won't disappoint this week if Austin Eckler's not playing, not against Minnesota. You know what? I would look at Addison. I'd look at KJ Osborne. I want pieces in that game. That's a game you're going to look back and say, how did I not have more guys in it? But, I mean, the obvious play is Jefferson, but I think sometimes you have to go a little less obvious. So I wouldn't mind having, like, Kelly and running it back maybe with Osborne or Addison. I think you can do some damage with that.
Is there a not-so-obvious stack?
I think a not-so-obvious stack might be the Ravens this week. I might do a Lamar with a Mark Andrews and a Zay Flowers and see where that took me.
I like it.
Hill is not 100%, right? So, I mean, what are you looking at? You're looking at Gus. I mean, there's only so much you can do with Gus Edwards back there. So, and Melvin Gordon stinks. So I'm thinking, Lamar, Flowers, Andrews, and I'll figure it out.
I'm sorry, Mark. Are you picking up Cam Akers at all, even in your 20-round league, or no?
Yeah. I mean, Cam Akers is talented. So there's not. I mean, it's not that the player's bad. And Alexander Madison hasn't been a world beater. But let's understand something. You always follow the money. They paid Alexander Madison a lot of money this offseason, so they're not quitting on him. So I don't think this is a rebuke on Alexander Madison. I think this is, hey, Kevin O'Connell knew Cam Akers from his time in L.A., right? You know the player. You know there's talent there. You look down your bench, you go, Ty Chandler, it's all right. Myles Gaskin, it's not really that good. We need somebody else. And we see that players go down all the time in the NFL. So, I mean, what did you get him for? You picked up his contract and you traded some picks. I think Cam Akers was a smart move by Minnesota. But I'm certainly going to stash him. I'm just not running to start him every week.
They also signed the offensive lineman Reisner yesterday. The Vikings realizing 35 yards a game rushing is not going to get it done. He's Dr. Roto, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. What time on Saturdays?
If you wake up bright and early, you can listen from 7 to 9 a.m. on Saturdays. And what I do on Sundays, if I'm not on SiriusXM, at drroto.com, we have a Discord, which is you go in there. It's like a radio show. I'm on there for about an hour and a half answering everybody's questions. So definitely sign up at drroto.com.
That's DRROTO, drroto.com, and that's how you follow him also on Twitter/X, DRROTO. He's the doctor who makes house calls. He's Dr. Roto. Thanks, Doc.
Have a great weekend, guys. Talk soon.
Dr. Roto, brought to us by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung every week.
Look at that. A guest that has a sponsor.
I know. He's a big fan.
And he didn't ask a question this week, I don't think. Usually,
I know.
Usually you get to one in the Twitch chat room, and then he hits me up on my personal phone with one more.
It does the same to me, too, and it's a different question to both of us. He's trying to get 3 questions asked.
Hey, do what you got to do. You're sponsoring the segment. You can get an extra question.
He must have a billable hour going on right now. That's why he ignored us.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, it's funny. We were supposed to be in Daytona. But a station that was out of business and was starting back up, and they were going to start back up and do sports, and they decided not to.
I'm with you, Dad. I think Denver's going to play their tails off. The season's on the line for the Broncos. I am staying away from it, however, in my picks. Oh, Notre Dame's going to wear green this weekend. I know we're coming back here in a couple seconds. I did tell them yesterday they've got that Tennessee-Indiana game. I said, you get us coaches, we'll put them on.
Well, thank you, E.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Man, these shows are flying by. The 3-4 guests in a show, bada bing, bada boom. Next thing you know, it's the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton in the 239. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you missed Roy Cummings, Jeff Cameron, Dr. Roto, then you go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download what you missed. It'll be posted before lunch, and there you go. But here we go with one more show and one more hour to go. Football tonight. Don't know how many of you think you're going to get anything worth watching. Giants a 10-point underdog in San Francisco, missing 4 starters, 2 of them on the offensive line. Mark, that seems to be a bad matchup going against the Niners' defensive line. I'm just saying. It seems as if that's a big negative. But then again, we thought Tua was going to get killed week 1. Killed. And he wasn't touched. Isn't that one of the 5 biggest stories? And in all honesty, I mean, if we want to, Dave Canales and what he's done with Baker after doing it with Geno Smith. I mean, if you really want to get gooberish right here, that and what the Dolphins offensive line coach has done with that line in the first 2 weeks.
I think it's the biggest part of what's happened to the Dolphins. The whole season depends on whether or not this guy can stand upright for the season. That's it. And that's why, when you were having fun earlier in the show talking about being Mike McDaniel and how do you handle the press, and I couldn't say it, but we all know this is all about whether or not Tua stays upright. And the fact that his offensive line has played this good, and it's not considered 100% healthy at all. In fact, their best lineman's not played yet.
Although he practiced yesterday, so that's a good sign. Listen, we've said it. We've asked the question out loud. We did not know the answer. But just about everybody on that line is a first, second, or third round draft pick. So either did they draft the wrong guys, or has the coaching and the scheme been bad? Well, for the first time in a while, it looks like some of those high draft picks can play, at least as a unit. Great. Wouldn't it be nice to keep the quarterback upright? Of course, you keep him upright, you don't have to pay him. That's okay. You want to pay him.
What a delight that would be what a dilemma that would be for Miami. Hey, I've got to pay my offensive linemen because they've all worked out.
And the quarterback's still upright. Oh, okay. All right. But anyway, Daniel Jones should be running for his life tonight. And we don't like his chances. Brock Purdy's never lost a regular season game. And the Giants' defensive front was abysmal against Arizona. Abysmal. How in the world are they going to look against San Francisco? We don't get a lot of 38-10s in prime time. The league tries really hard to give Amazon and NBC and now ABC, ESPN, the 4:25 game on Fox or CBS. They try really hard to give them a good game.
And the league's built on it.
Right.
That's why this weekend's so peculiar, given the fact that we've got all of these huge numbers out there.
But we really could get 38-10 tonight. Unless the Niners decide to take the night off. But they started with 2 road games, so you'd like to think they'd be happy being home. But who knows? It's a Thursday. Maybe they're distracted.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think this is a little bit. You and I weren't high on the Giants last year. They won every game that was close. They overachieved in every single possible way a year ago. And they're already banged up to start the year.
And that's why both of us did not pick them to go to the playoffs this year. In fact, I don't think either one of us had them with a winning record.
No.
Because they just, A, tremendous overachieve, but B, won all the close games. It's also why we were not high on Minnesota this year, because they were not a 13-4 team a year ago. They weren't. They were probably a 10-7 team. They won every close game last year, and 2 miracle wins. Jefferson with maybe the greatest catch we've ever seen in that Bills game, so that they were able to come back and win that one late, and then down 5 touchdowns against the Colts, and they come back and win because, well, Jeff Saturday was coaching the Colts. I mean, there's 2 games right there. You take 13-4, you make it 11-6, and we don't even get into the close games. Those are just the miracle games you won. So you can see the regression in Minnesota and the Giants, and so far we've had it. Giants are fortunate to be 1-1. Can you believe, by the way, this is the 99th year the New York Giants have been playing football, by the way. 99th season. That matches the biggest comeback ever. It's not the Carolina Panthers here.
No, I know.
I'm just trying to make the point. They've been around a while.
Yeah, no, there was 40 years you couldn't throw the ball, so it was tough to come back in that.
Well, but here's the strange part. Apparently, the 3 biggest comebacks before Sunday were all during the Truman administration. 2 21-point deficits and a 20-point deficit were all done in the late 40s, early 50s. So they went 70 years without ever coming back trailing by 20 points or more in a game until Sunday.
That's a trend.
Yeah. So I just feel badly for the Arizona head coach. He opened with Washington, Giants. Now they play Dallas. He's like, wait a minute. I thought I'm in the NFC West. All I'm doing is playing my old NFC East teams. What the heck?
And he's got them to play hard, and they blew the game against the. I mean, in both games they've played hard. And now they face the Cowboys, who we've talked about, is really good at spreads and really good at big spreads.
Gut feeling in Chicago. You think this thing blows up, or do you think it's just a 2-day media storm? Remember,
they're going to get pounded this weekend.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Chiefs are not a good team against the number. The last 3 years, the Chiefs are below 500 against the number.
Okay, if they don't pound them, it's because the offense of the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs' defense for 2 games has been unbelievable.
I know.
The Chiefs' defense allowed 14 against Detroit.
Right, 21 on the scoreboard, but 1 was a pick 6.
And what did they allow last week?
9.
Right.
3 field goals. Right.
9 points. Sorry.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. 2 touchdowns, 5 field goals is what the defense has given up so far in 2 games. Yeah. Against 2 pretty good offenses. Thank you very much.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Consider top 10 offenses from a year ago. Right. No, this is the best. You could argue.
Chicago get to 20?
Well, if they do, I think they get there late. But, the other thing is that, the Chiefs have a lot of tough games on their schedule. Do they fall victim to looking at the schedule going, oh, for goodness sakes, we're playing the Bears? I mean,
I don't think so, because they've lost 1 and they've been in a tough game. If they were 2-0, maybe, but they're not.
You sure they don't give about an 80% effort in execution this week?
I don't think so.
all the games they played over the last 5 years, big games, look at the remaining. You sure they don't just look and go, oh, whew, nice to have a breather this week? Man, kind of like the Gators in between, Tennessee and Kentucky. Nice to have Charlotte.
This is the NFL.
I understand, but sometimes the guys look at the schedule too. They're human. I mean, for goodness sakes, Kelsey's just trying to, close the deal with Taylor Swift. I mean, is he really? Come on. If you were Travis Kelce, the Bears defense or Taylor Swift, what are you more concerned with this week?
Taylor Swift's defense.
Right. So I'm just saying.
He could scoring the ultimate touchdown.
He could be a little distracted. That's all I'm saying. And as he goes, so goes the offense. That's all.
With how annoying her fan base is dating her really that good of an idea?
Listen, don't say that because people will attribute what you said to Miller and Moulton. We do not need, you don't alienate the Beehive and you don't alienate the Swifties.
Look what happened to Joe Burrow.
Right.
Yeah, right. He's
to Joe Burrow.
You're right. He's cursed now.
I thought it was a bold move to take him on, and I backed him for it. And I will not do that again.
Mark will bet on the Chargers having a successful season before he takes on the Swifties again. All right.
Damn right.
I'm just saying, if Travis Kelce was famous a year ago, that is going to burst tenfold, that fame.
Then she's going to dump him, slip him in a song. Something about a bad mustache comes into a line.
I give him credit, though, because he tried to make his move at her concert and she wouldn't have anything to do with him. He had a gift for her. Okay. In Kansas City where he's, kind of a thing. Okay. And she was like, please. Okay. But apparently, through connections and what have you, he was able to get on her radar again. Apparently they've, quote, hung out twice, unquote. So there.
It's better than the rest of us have done that have tried, not that you and I have, but I mean, you know what I'm saying here. There's a lot of people that have tried to climb that hill.
Once again, if you're Travis Kelce, okay, the Bears defense or Taylor Swift, what are you more concerned with this week? I mean, I even think Kelsey's saying to Mahomes, man, you may have to throw to Kadarius Toney this week. And he's like, what? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. My head's spinning. Got the podcast with my brother I got to do. I got to try to figure out how I'm going to see Taylor. We don't have a lot of time off.
He told a story on his podcast. He and his brother both got kicked out of preschool. Brother got kicked out for sporking another kid in the head. He got kicked out for running the checkers table and not losing. When the teacher told him to share, he picked up the chair and threw it at her. Hello, Dad. Miller and Moulton.
That is one of the best podcasts going, by the way, the Kelce brothers. And it ain't short either.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, you're right, Adam. He's no Gardner Minshew. Let me tell you, the bills on this condo repair are coming in. Woo! I don't know if I need to live or die.
It's all right. The wife got the car fixed. We had a talk before she got the car fixed. If it was going to be X, maybe it's time for a new car. I wanted to go to not the dealership to save a little bit more money, but what do I know?
Right.
So we went over and she went to the dealership.
Right. Well, you're a guy. Okay. Translation. It's like the comment we got saying that I looked really jolly. Okay. How does that translate?
Fat.
Okay. You're a guy. What's that translation?
Stupid.
You're an effing idiot. Right. Yep. What do you know? Yep. I used you for what I needed you for. You're a moron. Yep. That's how that works. What do we know? We're still good for lifting things, opening things, reaching things.
Well, and I cook.
Right. Oh, your stuff. My goodness. Right. Well, and my wife physically has trouble getting around, so that's my value. You know. Although, here's the double-edged sword. If I'm bringing in the groceries, I like to go get the groceries. Ooh, major bone of contention. As if somehow I'm unable to read the list. I mean, bananas. Tough to screw it up. I guess you can. There are organic.
Done, right?
There are organic. You can get them. They're too ripe or they're too yellow. They're going to go ahead in 2 days. I mean, you can, but you know, when you're 57 years old, you've bought a few bananas. You've eaten a few. Right. Water. I guess you could get the big jugs and she wanted the small bottles, I guess. But it's tough to screw up. It is, you know, water. What do we have here? Water. Bread.
You can screw that up.
Really? I know. What if you know what kind she likes?
Well, then you can't screw it up.
Besides, you can ask follow-up questions like when they put peanut butter. You go, okay, which kind do you prefer? I know you like creamy. If you have a preference, which one? Okay, we'll go with that one. Yeah, Guillermo, I'm not going to do that. I know. That's no. Especially since I didn't do it last year. So what? I can all of a sudden start to do it this year? I may buy myself Adam a sandwich or something. I may go get lunch meat that she didn't put on the list, and I go, I want some turkey.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's the Diamond District bonus hour here on Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. So Football Friday tomorrow. Is that right, Mark?
Football Friday.
Lee Sterling makes his picks. He had another winning week. Miller and Moulton make their picks. How'd they do last week?
Winning week, baby.
In September. We are going to be on fire soon. A winning week before technically the fall. Hey, you said something earlier. What do you mean fall's not until Saturday?
Fall begins this year, September to the 23rd.
Since when?
I don't know, David.
The 21st or the 22nd is when we do the whole solstice, when seasons end, when we go from, Capricorn to Sag or vice versa. I don't know. It's always the 21st or the 22nd.
You're right. It usually is.
Right.
It's like you're not right. You're wrong.
What?
Usually it is. In this case, you're wrong.
Why? What, does September get to choose? What is this, like a leap year for fall? What?
It can fall between the 21st and 24th. It's usually September 22nd or 23rd.
There should be like a Puxatawny Phil version of extending summer a few weeks.
Funny, most people are sick of summer. By the end of summer, they're sick of it. It's been too hot, too long. They can't wait for fall.
Down here, yes.
They don't realize there's a bad part to fall. Okay, that it's beautiful when you're just transitioning from the short sleeve, and at night you got to put on either the windbreaker or what have you. But then there's the half of fall, which is gray and 46.
I know. And down here, I mean, there's the time of fall that you go from flip-flops to socks and Crocs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brutal transition in Florida.
You actually may put a sleeve on.
Is that for your pickleball arm? What?
Well, I mean, you could go tank tops for most of fall. You can go short or long, whichever sleeve you choose.
Right.
In fact, you can go for a sleeve of golf balls in the fall around here most of the time.
Get that windbreaker out.
So, listen, I know I asked this earlier. I'm gonna try it again. So, is it over in Chicago with Fields? Or do we have 15 games to go? He's got a couple receivers. He's got a tight end. All right. In theory, coaches can figure things out. What life is like in mid-September is not how life has to be in mid-November. The Lions were 1-6 last year. Okay. And some of us are trying to say, God, I see a good team there. I mean, could you look at Justin Fields and say, man, I still think there's a quarterback there, even though he's 5-22 as a starter?
I think he gets the rest of the year, obviously, but I think this is over. There's nowhere else for them to go than to let Fields play. But I don't think he can.
Okay, so your $20 right now is, they took their shot. They traded up in the first round. They gave 2 first-round picks, and they took their shot. And and it wasn't these guys, wasn't this coach, wasn't this GM. They took their shot and they missed. Okay, next.
And the good news is between their pick and the one they have from Carolina, they're going to be right back in the mix to get another quarterback this year. Hell, they might not even need Carolina's pick. Theirs is going to be in such a good position. It could be first overall.
Yeah, could be. Not only that, remember, Arizona has their pick in Houston's So Arizona, you could argue last Sunday was a phenomenal day for the Cardinals. They blew a 21-point lead and losing to the Giants, and the Texans lost at home to the Colts, which makes you wonder just how many wins are on their schedule to begin with.
And I think you could say, the Bears are going to lose a lot, and so is Carolina.
Yeah. Carolina's offensive line's not good. I'm telling you, I'm my $20 right now, the quarterback in Carolina can play.
Okay, I don't know if we ever find out. This is going to be like the Joe Burrow year where he gets sacked 57 times.
Could be. This could be, the older Carr in Houston. This could be Couch in Cleveland. I'm telling you, I really think that kid can play. Now, the line they put in front of him, people should be fired for.
Not only that, his receivers can't get open. I saw.
Listen, honestly, I don't care with a young quarterback. The first thing you have to do is put a wall in front of him. The second thing you have to do is get guys who can get open and catch the ball. But the very first thing you have to do is he's got to be able to breathe while learning the job.
And he can't. He can't.
Through 2 weeks, he's actually one of the more accurate passers when his receivers are open.
Yes.
In the entire league.
Yes.
He can throw the rock.
Yes. He can play. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I thought it in college, and I know he's small.
And for the record, I was a Stroud guy. You were a young guy. That was in the middle of last year.
Yeah. And we can both be right. And by the way, with the way C.J. Stroud played against Georgia, all those guys who are playing on Sunday, he looked great.
But like Bryce Young or like Tua, his best receivers may have played with him in college, not in the Tua. Yeah, it's close.
Well, when they got to a Tyreek, he probably looked at McDaniel or Chris Greer and said, well, now I finally have receivers that I'm used to throwing.
Right. Now this seems a little more normal.
And C.J. Stroud is looking at Mechie and a few other guys and going, I know you're trying hard and all, but, do you know who I was throwing to last year? Hell, the one guy didn't even play, and he's tearing this league up. Man. Harrison's kid. Think about it. Marvin Harrison's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, correct? Is he in or is he? Is he in or no? But Marvin Harrison, if he's not, I think he's in. But if he's not, he's going into the Hall of Fame. And there's no one who doesn't think his kid is better. I know Marvin got in some trouble off the field, and maybe that's cost him when it came time.
No, he got in.
He's in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Dad's a Hall of Famer and everybody's like, yeah, you're better than your dad. Damn. Your dad couldn't do what you can do.
Obviously, he hasn't made it to the NFL yet, which he will. But how many examples of that where the son ends up being better than the Hall of Fame player father?
Ken Griffey Sr. was a really good player for a long time. But wasn't a Hall of Famer.
And Harrison's kid is going to go and come into the league, and they're going to not expect him, but believe that he can be better than his dad. That's pretty remarkable.
By the way, I don't think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is playing hard all 12 games this year because I think he's got the NFL on his mind. But there are 3 or 4 times that he is going to ball out, and one of them is Saturday.
Just hope his quarterback can ball out with him. I mean, that's we all know he can. Just got to find him because he's going to be open.
Mm-hmm. And even if he's not, throw it to him anyway.
And take your chances. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Saturday night. Can't wait. What a college football weekend we are getting. Florida State and Clemson, Colorado and Oregon, Ole Miss, Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, couple other Pac-12 games that are really good. You get Iowa and Penn State.
I do, apparently in a rainstorm. I mean, nothing like a whiteout and a rainstorm at the same time. And Iowa's offense. It should be a hell of a Saturday night.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. It's a good call, baby Jules.
I got to admit, Baby Jules, though, I didn't know anybody who thought Junior was as good as Senior. He was smaller. He wasn't as fast. I covered Junior. When you watched Junior, you did not think Senior.
No.
No, you thought really good player, but Senior was uncoverable, especially for his time.
And Archie and Peyton, that is correct.
That's good. Archie, not a Hall of Famer, though.
Holy Redeemer.
He calls me afterwards. He goes, I know what he was getting at, and it was really good. He goes, but I swear, all I could think of was, hell no, I never played on anybody good enough. He goes, and then I said what I said to him, and I go, oh my God, I'm doing Seinfeld. He goes, so I went there.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
This is it. This is the final segment of the day. This is the Diamond District bonus hour. Todd and Jason, the good folks at the Diamond District in Estero. I mean, you know, if you're in the market, you need jewelry. You need high-quality diamonds. You need high-quality service. You need it at a really good price. I mean, if, you know, that's what you need. I'd go to the Diamond District. But, you know, you do what you want. I mean, you know.
You can make a mistake.
Right.
Or you can go to the Diamond District.
Yeah, you can pay more, get less, you know, not be treated as well. It's up to you. We're just trying to help. That could be on the t-shirt too. Miller and Moulton, we're just trying to help.
Are we?
We are.
All the time?
No, well, come on. We're on 4 hours a day. I don't know if we're trying to help all 4 hours, but I really do think, you know, if we have a soul, and that's a big if we have a soul, okay, you know, we try to be moderately informative, moderately entertaining. And at the end of the day, we always envisioned we were going to live in a state and do a show where you could legally bet. So, yeah, we've tried to help, I think.
All right.
Now, there are people that have lost a lot of money listening to us that have said, yeah, you really helped. I think we've tried, though.
The key word is trying.
Right.
Okay. Now, we've not really been helping all the time. We've been trying to help.
Mark, combined, the two of us have been married 40 years. Aren't we trying? Aren't we always trying? Okay. They, I think, would conclude that we're not always helping. But are we not always trying?
Always trying.
Thank you. Always. Always. Yes, honey, I really can take the list and go to the grocery store. No. Bread. I got it. No, I know I'm a guy.
This week, too. Been a lot of lists this week. It's short list, long list. I'm going to come home today. You know what there's going to be for me? A list.
A list. I got a list. I've been home. I haven't been home 48 hours. It's my third list. Third.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1780 we start today, David.
Wow.
Benedict Arnold, that rat bastard.
Damn right.
Gives British Major John Andre plans to West Point. Cecil Chubb today bought Stonehenge for 6,600 pounds in 1915. Seems like a good buy to me. Tolkien's The Hobbit was published today in 1937. The Boston Braves play their last home game at Braves Field in Boston, losing to the Brooklyn Dodgers. They would relocate to Milwaukee before the start of the 1953 season. 1955, Rocky Marciano wins his last fight, knocking out Archie Moore in the 9th round at Yankee Stadium. 1957, Perry Mason premieres on CBS. These are shows that David and I watched in black and white, Felipe. 1968, Adam 12 debuts on NBC.
That was a big deal.
Monday Night Football premiered tonight in 1970. The Browns beat the Jets 31-21.
They had a live pregame interview. Howard Cosell, Joe Willie Namath.
1981, Steve Carlton would strike out what would be a National League record 3,118th batter. It would be Andre Dawson. Michael Spinks beats Larry Holmes today in 85 to become the heavyweight champ.
And he did beat him, too. I mean, they fought twice. Holmes won the second fight, didn't get the decision. But Spinks did. That was a legit win. Even though he was a longtime champion and he didn't knock him down or anything like that. But he whooped him that night.
Today in 86, the Jets beat the Dolphins 51-45 in overtime. It was a record 884 passing yards in that game.
Ken O'Brien and Wesley Walker, I think, in overtime.
This is for you and you only, David. Today in 1993, Melissa Etheridge releases her breakthrough second album. Yes, I Am had the single I'm the Only One. Green Day released American Idiot today in 2004. The U.S. regains the Ryder Cup at Valhalla today in 2008.
It was Azinger.
And that was the same day the final home games played at Yankee Stadium.
That was a mistake. It was. Felipe asked the question earlier, our poll questions about owning teams and what have you. If I own the Yankees, I never. And I understand it was old and you could have made more money with a new stadium and suites and the whole deal and the modern conveniences and what have you. There is no flipping way. No way that I ever would have taken. I don't care if it took 5 years to renovate that place. There's no way we were leaving that hallowed ground. No way.
Author H.G. Wells, Larry Hagman, and Leonard Cohen all born today.
That's a pretty good trifecta right there.
It is. It really is. Stephen King, 76. Bill Murray, 73. Rick Mahorn is 65. Cecil Fielder, 60. Faith Hill is 56. John Kitna and Liam Gallagher from Oasis are both 51 today. What did I miss, David?
Mark, a biggie, one of the most famous actors of the late 20th and early 21st century, made his big debut today. George Clooney as the handyman on The Facts of Life. Yep, long before ER and what have you. Yep. 17 episodes as the handyman on The Facts of Life.
You had Blair as the good-looking rich chick on that, and then they brought in the dark-haired girl who was the tough girl. I don't remember what her name was on the show.
Right. It wasn't kind of like.
Yeah. It was.
Then you had the friend. Okay, she was the one with the one told all the jokes. Okay, they set her up for all the jokes. Right. You had the mom figure there who was the maid,
the den mother, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I watched. I'm gonna admit it.
I didn't do it for me. Although I like Clooney.
Yeah, but he wasn't that big of a part of the show.
No, he wasn't. I just said 17 episodes. He was the handyman. But you got to start somewhere, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We got a North Fort Myers where I don't know if this is good, but Robert Lucas is. He's 82 years old. And he heard a loud bang, thought it was roofers. Went outside, watched an intruder walk up his porch steps and enter his home. He said, as soon as I saw it, my wife had an operation, so I knew I had to get her. What happened next? He backed him out of the house. He kept knocking him. Finally, he said he hit him so hard he fell all the way down the steps and hit the rocks. That's when I came at him again with a cane. He kept hitting him all the way down the road. Another guy come along and said, you better leave that old man alone. And I said, well, it's too late. I've already beat the tar out of him. Go get him, Ronald. For the bad, we go to Bagley Township in Michigan, where a woman dropped her Apple Watch in an outhouse at the Dixon Lake boat launch. So she decided to climb inside the toity to pick it out. Then she got stuck.
Oh, no.
State police remind you that if you lose an item in an outhouse toilet, do not attempt to venture inside the containment area. Serious injury may occur.
Yikes.
Finally, the ugly. We go to Dallas Fort Worth Airport, where travelers watched a man strolling naked through the international airport about 10:15 Monday night. He was strolling past a restaurant in the Buff. Video has, well, a few people taking shots and putting them up to social media. Authorities eventually arrested the man and took him into custody for a mental health evaluation. And that is the good, the bad, and the naked ugly on today, September the 21st, 2023.
Well, we know what we have tonight. We have Thursday Night Football, 8:15, Amazon. We have the Giants 10, some places even 10.5, right? Point underdogs.
Yes.
Over under of, I believe, 44 and change. So basically 28-17. You know, it's kind of right there, you know, for both total and margin of victory and what have you. I would probably do a teaser, Mark. I'd take the Niners, move them down to 4, and take the over-under and move it down to about 38 and go Niners in the over. You know, just to amuse myself.
I might just lay the number tonight.
Okay.
I might just lay the number tonight. And I've already put them down as my survivor pick for this week.
Ooh, look at you.
Seeing if I can just be done on Thursday and relax while everybody else is taking the big spreads on the weekend. And seeing which one backfires on one of the teams.
So 7:30 tonight on the 4-Letter Network, if you're a real degenerate. Georgia State, that's undefeated Georgia State, thank you very much. At Coastal Carolina, their only loss is a 2-touchdown defeat at UCLA. So 2 teams that are probably better than you think. Coastal favored by 6.5 at home. And you can get a full quarter of that game in before the NFL game starts. So there's 2 afternoon baseball games. Limited schedule today. There's 9 games. When everybody's playing, there's 15. 2 afternoon games. One of them's the Rays hosting the Angels. See, this is what you were talking about earlier in the week. You had Wednesday, Thursday circled. You were going to go up. You were going to watch Ohtani and Trout take on the Rays. You were going to stay over, do the show, and then you were going to watch Ohtani and Trout, and you were going to come home.
Was really the plan.
Yep. So instead, it's a big game for the Rays, obviously, if they have any chance to chase down the Orioles, who begin a 4-game series themselves in Cleveland. And the Guardians are all but eliminated, and they just got swept in Kansas City. Tampa Bay, by the way, is minus 260 today. 260. The other afternoon game is Brewers and Cardinals. The nationally televised baseball game tonight is Mets and Phillies on Fox. Some places will see Baltimore and Cleveland also on Fox. The big game for Felipe and Marlins fans, the game in hand for the Cubs is tonight. Cubs have 10 games left. Marlins have 9. They're separated by a half a game. Cubs are hosting the Pirates. They'll both have 9 games left after tonight.
Pulling hard for the Pirates.
Yep.
Are the Marlins.
Who own the tiebreaker? Against the Cubs, the Reds, and the Diamondbacks, the Marlins own the tiebreakers. The only team they don't own it against are the Giants, who have fallen all the way back to 500 and are beginning a 4-game series against the Dodgers tonight. So I wouldn't worry about the Giants if I'm a Marlins fan. You just need to finish tied with anybody else, and you're going.
I think the Cubs still win today.
I understand. And that put them a game up. What to me will be interesting is Milwaukee will likely have the division clinched, if not by the end of this weekend, very early next week. So the final 3-game series of the year, the Brewers, who will be the 3 seed, do they really try hard to beat the Cubs? Because if they don't beat them, they'll likely face them in the playoffs. The two teams have split 10 games against each other earlier in the season.
And I think the Brewers will play that series relatively hard just for the reason you talked about. You don't want to give a team confidence coming into your turnaround and play them again.
I also don't think they want to play the Cubs. I think they view the Cubs as a little more dangerous than the Marlins and Reds.
Miller and Moulton. Football Friday tomorrow. That means Lee Sterling and Pat Kerwin and Miller and Moulton picking more winners, baby. That's what we do on Fridays. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal